Hey, all you cool cats and gamers! Welcome to the premiere of No Category Left Behind, the new GDQ hotfix show that showcases category extensions. I'm your host, Nuclear Reaction. Before we get started, I have a few announcements here. AGDQ 2022 online game and volunteer submissions are closed, but stay tuned for more volunteering opportunities coming up on gamesdonequick.com as we get closer to the event. If you missed out on any GDQ hotfix shows, check out our archive of past runs and shows at youtube.com/gamesdonequick. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to join us over at twitch.tv/gamesdonequick to check out our live shows starting most nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. And while you're there, Hotfix is funded in part thanks to your subscriptions and bits. Please consider subscribing and help support future progress. With that, I'm proud to introduce Dangers as my first ever guest for No Category Left Behind.
Goodness
He'll
sakes.
he'll be
Honestly, it's an
showcasing
honor.
for us all subcategories or all sub areas categories
That's
on the
right.
brain.
You got those categories on the brain. That's right. We're going to do all sub areas today. We'll talk about what that means, I think, when we get started with the run. We also have today on commentary Fur underscore. Hello, Fur.
Hey, that's me. Hi.
That's him. You guys have been seeing a lot of us on the GDQ broadcast lately. I'm super excited about this show, Nukes, because category extensions are fun.
Yeah, and I feel like honestly the inspiration for this show was Mario Odyssey for me. There are a lot of great category extensions in Mario Odyssey, so I couldn't think of a more perfect game to start off this series.
Honestly, it's an honor to be here then, in that case. And you kind of gave me the creative liberty to pick which category extension I thought would be the one to show off, to kick off this whole show for you. And I've settled on all sub areas. I think it's a fantastic showcase. And like I said, we'll get into what all that means. Like, what is a sub area? What does it mean to do all of them? We'll get into that as we start the run. But this is a 3-hour run, so we're gonna get started as soon as possible. I think that's okay, right, Nukes?
Yeah, whenever you're ready to count us down, go for it.
Excellent. I'm gonna count us down right now. 3, 2, 1, go. So, Fur, what is a sub area?
What is a sub area? Well, there are these little rooms in Super Mario Odyssey that you can go into, and they have moons in them. Yeah?
They do. Sometimes
They
they
do?
have purple coins.
Oh, they do sometimes, yeah.
So the idea of a sub area, you can think of it as like when you play Super Mario Sunshine, and there are the secret levels. You like enter a doorway or go through a pipe, and suddenly you're like teleported to a different world where like things are different, right? Like you're not in Luncheon Kingdom anymore. You're in like this extra room off to the side. Those are sub areas. Now there are lots of places where you go indoors, and then stuff happens. Not everything is a sub area though, and there is a specific distinction about what a sub area is. And it's if you ever visit the game, or if you ever visit the sub area in the post game. If you've ever visited the sub area before, so let's say you go into a sub area, you come back out. If you go into the sub area again in the post game, Cappy will say something along the lines of like, "Oh, I think there's still some moons or some purple coins to find in here," or "You've collected everything here. I don't think we need to be here anymore." So the objective of this category is to basically collect all the moons that would satisfy Cappy never saying that to us in the game ever again. We need to get all the moons in all of the sub areas. Sub areas typically have 2 moons in them. There are a couple of exceptions, and you'll see those exceptions as we kind of go along. But that's the idea. Now, the cool thing about this category is that some sub-areas are locked behind the post-game. So we need to complete World Peace to open up all the moon rocks. So you'll be seeing like a complete story progression here. You'll be seeing World Peace, which means we'll be completing the story. And there are some sub-areas in the dark side of the moon, which is like a hidden kingdom that requires 250 power moons to unlock. So all of the routing that's been done for this category takes basically all of the story and all of the sub-area moons into account, and we'll be collecting a couple on the side so that we get 250 total so that we can go to the dark side and complete that as well. So there's a lot to see in this category, which is why it's such a good showcase.
I'm excited to see a lot of these areas we don't normally get to see in a Super Mario Odyssey speedrun.
Exactly, yeah. That's kind of what makes this category really cool. Like, I like running all moons. All moons is a really fun category because you explore
True.
every nook and cranny of the game, right? So that's what kind of makes it fun. But a lot of the sub areas and stuff, a lot of the stuff that makes the all moons fun is really slow to do, just by like pure like time perspective, right? Like a sub area might take 3 minutes to finish, which is way too long for any other category to really consider. But that doesn't mean it's not cool to do. So, you know, we get to see everything in this category.
Yeah. It's a good showcase.
Yeah, and of course we're not having to collect all of the moons either, so there are some that we get to skip, like sheep herding and some of the bad ones, you know, jump farm, no toadette moons, so kind of like an all moons run condensed, which is really nice.
Yeah, saves us about 5 hours there.
Yeah, this trick is really hard that I'm starting out with. Maybe you can explain it a little bit further.
Yeah, there's this little seam in the wall here that Dangerous is trying to land on, and it's very hard to do that, but Dangerous got it second try there. And then using the skeleton there to get all the way up to the top of the kingdom. That was called Dino Skip Skip. Basically, by doing that, we're able to skip a strat called Dino Skip along with a cutscene, and it saves time. I don't know how much it saves if you get it second try, though.
Second try, it's about 9 seconds if you get it first try, so it saves about, like, 2 if you get it first try.
Hey, those are 2 seconds we'll take.
Exactly. Yeah, Cascade has kind of evolved, even like at any percent level. Cascade has evolved quite a lot over the years of playing Odyssey. It was discovered pretty early that you could do a dino skip, which is basically use the dino capture to like jump up to the fight. But to get to the dino, you had to approach the Odyssey, and Cappy had to like tell you about the Odyssey. You had to sit there for a second, and then you had to go and find the dino and capture it, and then use the dino to jump up a trampoline. So doing that trick there, you just jump right up the rock wall as soon as you get that first moon. Don't have to deal with any of that.
Now, will we be kind of trying to get world peace then as fast as possible here and coming back for sub areas, or?
So it's a little bit of A and a little bit of B. We want to achieve world peace, and we want to get to the post game as fast as possible, but at the same time, we want to try and minimize the amount of junk moons that we're collecting. Like, remember, we need 250 moons in this run to get to Darkside, but the amount of moons that exist in sub areas plus the amount of moons that exist in the story means that we can basically just use the sub areas to, like, you know, bolster those numbers. So you can see we're already coming in here and we're already doing this sub area just because it happens to be close to what we were already doing. You'll see quite a bit of that in the run as we go along, but it's mostly going to be a combination of story moons and sub areas to achieve world peace, and we're going to be avoiding quite a few of the other moons that exist in the world, unless they're really fast. Like you also saw me pick up Above a High Cliff, which is the moon that was like right outside the sub area. Super, super fast to get. So because we need a couple extra to get us to 250, that one's like a no-brainer. We just pick that one up.
I gotta imagine there's a lot that goes into routing all of these moons and all these different, like this category, all moons, I'm sure is very tedious.
Oh, yes. It's something we actually mentioned on the podcast on Saturday. It is like evolving all the time. Like there are some dedicated people who really enjoy that whole aspect of this as a speed game because, you know, it's not like Super Mario 64 where you go into a level, you collect a star, it spits you back out, and you keep repeating that process over and over, right? This is like if you were to just take the map and play a game of connect the dots. Like, which dots is going to be the shortest path for you to get from the start and then back to the finish again? So that's kind of what makes it so exciting. And, you know, the more of those dots you add, the more intricate the routing gets. So it's very, very exciting game to run and to route for that reason.
Definitely.
All
Definitely
right,
agree with that.
So Sand Kingdom actually has our first example of a sub-area that kind of breaks the rules a little bit. Typically, a sub-area is defined as having 2 moons inside of it. There's usually one main objective moon, like in that dinosaur sub-area, it was to clear all of the burbos, those little, like, spiky enemies. It's to clear all of them, kill them all, and then get the moon that spawns when you do that. And then there's always a secret moon, which is, in that case, it was jumping off the side and using the dino to break one of the big blocks. Those are two things that, you know, that you had to do in that sub-area to complete it. Most sub-areas do follow that kind of rule, where there's one main moon, one secret moon, but not always. This sub-area that we're going to be doing, I think next, actually, the next sub-area that we go into, it does kind of break the rules a bit, and I think it's because the second moon is actually outside of the sub-area. You know which one I'm talking about?
Which sub-area are you talking about?
I'm talking about the ice hole.
The ice hole. Oh, yeah. That's a sub-area that... There's only one moon in there, but... You are correct. There is a moon right when you go out of it, so...
Yes. Oops. So this sub-area here, we need to... we just need to get the moons from this sub-area. We don't need to worry about... We don't need to worry about the purple coins or the coins or anything like that. We're just looking to collect all the moons in them. So this is the moon right here. And like I said, this is a weird sub-area that very kind of breaks the tradition. There's only one in here, but this pipe leads you right to a platform where there is a second one. So that kind of leads me to believe that that's supposed to be the second one. But
maybe.
Now this is Jaxie. Jaxie's our good friend. Very fast in the Sand Kingdom, moves around quite quickly, and actually provides us access to a sub-area all on his own, which is just under here. So you can kind of, like, now that we've been in 3 sub-areas, you can kind of get a pretty good understanding of what a sub-area is. You're going outside of the kingdom's boundaries, through a door or something like that, into a completely separate instance, and there are, like, puzzles or challenges that you need to complete in order to get 2 moons. That's kind of the gist of it. And each sub-area kind of provides its own challenge. Some sub-areas like to take Cappy away from you, which obviously provides a bit of a unique challenge all on its own. Usually there's some sort of puzzle that's involved. So that's kind of like, you know, that's kind of the gist of it. Like for me, Sunshine, my favorite levels were the secret levels. I don't know, there was something thematic about them that really kind of struck a nerve, and so that's why I like sub areas too. It's kind of the same idea. You know, this one's kind of large, but when you take platforming levels and you kind of compact them, you can get away with some pretty cool stuff, and you're gonna see that stuff very soon. Okay, I think. Yeah, now I just go here. So this is a trick that has gained a bit of notoriety as being extremely difficult. I'm going to give it a couple tries. Hopefully we get it quickly. Or maybe you can explain what I'm doing.
So this is inverted pyramid skip. What Dangers is trying to do is skip going inside of this massive, like, pyramid he's on the outside of by doing a wall clip here and then maneuvering through the out of bounds to get to the very top of the pyramid. And it's really difficult because the only spots Dangerous can really stand on when he's out of bounds are these, like, little seams, like, right at the edge of, like, being inbounds and out of bounds. So it's pretty precise to, like, not only clip out, but, like, stay out and do the entire trick.
Yeah, you can see that I'm having a little bit of trouble slipping out of bounds. Just gonna give it a couple more tries. And see, Cappy went through that time, but Mario decided not to. And the reason that this is faster is because the interior of the pyramid is like a lot of platforming and a lot of stuff. So there it is. So now we have to traverse very carefully. And now we're just on top of the pyramid like that.
There you go,
wow.
We got it.
Yeah. And the reason for that is because there are some moons in the pyramid. You might even be thinking, hey, isn't the inside of the pyramid like a sub-area? Like, you come off the map, and, there's like an indoor part that you have to do. Isn't that a sub-area? Well, that kind of brings us to one of the exceptions of a sub-area. So, not everything that's inside counts as a sub-area. Remember that thing that I said about Cappy telling you about, like, things that are missing in the area? that's kind of like the number one definitive factor that it is a sub area. Story elements don't count as sub areas. So inside of the pyramid doesn't count as a sub area. You can think of like in Snow Kingdom, there are like those 4 hallways that go down, and you have to like clear the seals on the middle part to go to the Bound Bowl arena. Those don't count as sub areas. Anything that has to do with
Fun fact
the
about
story.
those as well.
Oh.
Those actually exist in the same overworld area as like the main Shiveria.
That's right.
That you
Yes.
don't actually load into a completely new map like you would in like every other sub area.
Exactly.
They're just
Yeah,
sort
those
of
are definitely
way
all
off out of
areas.
bounds.
Those are all
Yeah.
areas I would think are sub areas when you told me you're doing all sub areas.
Right? Yeah.
Interesting.
So the definition of sub area has been kind of modified to mean specifically those rooms where Cappy hints whether you've collected everything or not, and that text actually doesn't appear until you've gone into a sub area and then come back out again, and in the post game, should I add? So, yeah. So it's a little bit of like a pretty specific term, but yeah, it does exclude all story elements. I'm seeing Railkun in the chat ask if that means the Moon Cave counts as a sub area. That's also technically considered part of the story and is not a sub area. And a lot of the time, the best way you can tell is if it has 2 moons in it or not. In that case, the Moon Cave actually has like 5, I think,
Yeah, 5 would
as
be
well,
correct.
as well as like a boss. So it's considered part of the story instance. You could even consider like the inside of the cathedral at the end of the game. Like that's inside. That doesn't count as a sub area either. Yeah. So anything that has to do with like the main story progression doesn't really count as a sub area.
So with the all sub areas route dangers, going through the first time, are you mainly just focusing on getting like only moons from sub areas, or are there like exceptions to the rule of like going out of your way to get extra moons so you can go to the next kingdom sooner? Like how are you handling that?
It's mostly just a matter of just getting as little moons as I can to complete world peace. Because when we get to the post game, we're going to be basically revisiting every single kingdom anyway.
Yeah.
So if we can use the sub areas to accomplish the world peace goal, it eliminates the fluff of like going out of the way for moons that don't accomplish our main goal of completing all the
Yeah.
sub areas, right? So our main goal is to use the sub areas to kind of get enough moons for us to achieve world peace and then move on. And then when
That
we
makes
do our
sense.
revisit, later, then we just have to kind of take off some of the sub areas that remain, especially the Moonrock ones. The Moonrock is actually the reason that we have to revisit the Cloud Kingdom at all. There's only one sub area in Cloud Kingdom, for example. So, but yeah, we do revisit every single kingdom. And then again, some of these moons, they're just like right in the way. Like this moon lost in the luggage just so happens to be like right on our way to our next objective. So we can pick this one up basically for free. I don't remember the total number of moons that it is. If you add up all the sub-area moons and you add up all the story moons, I think you end up being somewhere in the ballpark of like 15 or 20 short for your total 250 to get to Darkside. So we do need to pick up a couple extras along the way.
Okay. Neat.
Yeah. So yeah, we are currently in the ice caves. World peace is an important part of sub areas because in order to get all of the sub areas to even be unlocked, we need to open up the moon rocks. And the moon rocks are a rock that sits in every single kingdom. At the end of the game, once you've beat the main game, you can go back to a kingdom and you can like hit it with your cap, and it reveals a bunch of new moons, including new sub areas. But that moon rock will not be accessible for you to hit unless you've achieved something called world peace in that kingdom. And world peace is essentially completing the main story objective of that kingdom. In this case, it's coming down into this ice cave and beating up this boss. For other kingdoms, it's different. Like Snow Kingdom, you have to do the Bound Bowl. For Metro, you have to do the festival. Like, there is some sort of story element that needs to be completed in almost every kingdom. There's a couple of exceptions to achieve world peace there. And so, because we need the sub areas, we need to achieve world peace everywhere. So that's something we'll be doing. This boss fight is relatively straightforward. It's your typical hands and face boss that Nintendo really likes to do.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never
the
seen a
usual.
boss like this before.
Yeah, very unique concept, right? just kind of get up in his face and say hello a little bit. He's got a very nice nose ring. Yeah, so completing the story obviously helps us unlock sub-areas later when we do our revisits. We'll be doing a loop of what's called the painting chain later on. And maybe you can talk about what that painting chain is.
So the painting chain is basically in every kingdom. There is, well, basically every kingdom. There's a painting you can go through that leads to another kingdom. Sort of like the whole SM64 style, jump into a painting, you end up, where the painting portrays. So yeah, that's the main way. It's the main way, like in post game we get from kingdom to kingdom typically, because we don't have to go through the whole like Odyssey animation every time, like right here. And which kingdoms we go to at Forks in the Road, which Dangerous is going to be coming to here, determines which paintings go where. And I don't know if that really matters in an all sub areas run.
Yeah, usually if it matters, it's because you're trying to manipulate, like, when you look at hint arts and things like that.
Yeah, but that doesn't really apply here.
Yeah, in this category, we don't really care about the hint arts or anything, so the order of the paintings isn't very important. I can just mash through all of these proverbial forks in the road, the game calls them, so.
Heck yeah.
Dangerous, I know you've run quite a number of different categories for Odyssey. Do you have different routes then for the paintings and those different categories that you have to remember?
Certainly, yeah. And it's very simple. It's basically just, okay, this is a category where I need to choose wooded first. And it's usually because you need to look at the hint art in Sand Kingdom, in Wooded Kingdom to get a moon in sand. And like where you do that kind of makes a difference in timing. But aside from that, yeah, it's quite simple to remember. But it can be quite disappointing if you accidentally forget and then you end up throwing off your whole painting chain for the run you're on.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
Yeah,
I was about to ask if either of you have experienced that before.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, this sub area is really fun. I actually really like lake sub areas in general, so hopefully I don't let you down on them. Very tough platforming to get to there. Nice. Perfect. Just like that.
And that's normally what a lot of like ledge grabbing to get through all that.
Oh yeah, like this sub area we bust like wide open. We do not do that sub area the right way at all. Yeah, you're supposed to do like a lot of ledge grabbing, and you're supposed to use those like flower platforms to like get yourself situated on the ledges like really nicely and gently. We don't bother with any of that. We just kind of jump over the whole thing. I'm actually really impressed that I was able to get all that on the first try, because that's a really tough sub area.
That looked real clean.
This one also kind of fun. Little known fact, you can jump around the corner and just get to the secret one right away. You're supposed to like reveal one of these like zipper platforms to get to that particular moon, but we can just kind of go around the back, which is very handy.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one, I'm going to try a little tricky thing here. So we can go right down the middle. There's some invisible blocks right there that we can use to traverse.
Nice.
Make it across. Now, those are the only two Lake Kingdom sub-areas that exist in the kingdom until we've unlocked the Moon Rock. So now all we need to do is complete the story, which is just this boss fight right here.
Oh, and that'll conveniently get you the right amount of moons.
Exactly, right? Yeah, we picked up one really fast moon at the beginning as well to just bring us up to 8. And then we're good. Like Wooded. Okay, it's not coming up yet. Wooded is a fun one. Wooded is like one of the larger kingdoms in the game, so there's like lots and lots of different sub-areas all over the place. Some of them are really interesting, especially the post-game ones. The post-game ones are very, very fun.
I'm trying to think, that area where I forget what it's called, where you fall down in Wooded, is that considered a sub area?
Yeah, so you're thinking of the deep woods.
Yes.
That is not a sub area as well for a couple of the same rules. It actually has nothing to do with the story, but it is just kind of like it lives in its own category. The deep
Oh,
woods
okay.
is like a whole beast all on its own. I think there's like somewhere in the ballpark of like 8 to 10 moons down there,
Hmm.
including parts where you have to go into pipes and like into a separate instance all on its own. You can't like the compass doesn't work down there. Your warping doesn't work down there. Like there's a lot of things that makes the deep woods kind of unique in its own way, but it does not get considered a sub area. So we won't have to go
Okay.
down there. All right. So yeah, Wooded is going to be a good kind of showcase of a mix between sub areas and also some just really quick moons. This is a category where we actually do answer the Sphinx question, which is like completely unheard of in speedrunning. Super, super funny. You're going to see what I mean in just a second. First, we're going to grab this rock. These two moons kind of pair really nicely together. We can just grab them really fast on our way to where we're going.
You do that movement in like every single category of this game.
Yeah, literally everyone. Unless those moons don't need to be picked up for some reason. Like, they're just so fast and they're like right at the beginning of Wooded Kingdom that like every category does this. And yeah, we answer the Sphinx question and we go through here because going the other way doesn't really serve us any particular purpose. So we need to get right to the sub areas, and there just so happens to be one down here. So we answer the Sphinx question. We actually go the way the level is intending for us to go, which is basically unheard of in speedrunning. Usually you go up the waterfall and continue Wooded Kingdom that way. The sub area is really fun. You probably see it in a lot of speedruns. Everything's on a cycle, including the water and including the fuzzies. And so if I skip a beat, if I'm too slow at any part of that sub area, then I kind of like it just goes really badly for me and everything kind of gets thrown off. So it's always really satisfying to get everything like that on the first try. Oh,
That one's
Kathy,
so
where are we going?
satisfying to watch. Well done, too.
Yeah, right. I think we just go right here. Yeah, we just continue the story. There are a lot of quick moons in this area, and I'm sure there are speedrunners yelling at me like, "Why aren't you going in the red maze? Why aren't you going around the corner?" It's because we don't
what the
need
heck,
to.
Dangers?
We don't need those moons.
I'm a speedrunner. I can yell at you right now.
Oh no! Please don't yell at me, Fur.
Please don't. All right, I won. I don't want to get kicked off the couch.
Yeah, don't get kicked off the couch. It's comfy there, I'm sure.
It is.
All right, same thing. So this tower is considered part of the story, so the moons that are in there don't count as sub-area moons, so we don't need to go in there. Instead, we can just climb it like this and skip right to the top, where we can deal with Spewart.
Dangerous just did that like it was nothing.
Yeah, this is some world peace movement coming at you. World peace is a category that, well, we've already talked about world peace already, but there is a category dedicated to it on the main board of this game where, you know, it's basically just like completing all bosses or all story, I guess. Probably my favorite category to run in this game because it's very trick centric. It's like, in order to complete the story as fast as possible, there's a lot of like clipping through walls and getting past stuff that you don't need to do, which is why I find it quite fun. All right. And now our tirade to kind of continue the story in Wooded Kingdom is basically going to be our motivating factor here. We just need to get to the top of the kingdom where the boss exists as fast as possible. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Oops, that's supposed to be a backflip. There we go.
I'll say, this is also a lot of movement. I feel like we don't get to see a lot in Odyssey runs. I don't
Definitely.
think you normally fight this boss.
Not typically, yeah. It's funny, like even in Darker Side, you do end up fighting this boss, but it's actually faster for you to leave the boss for later. Like, as in the second visit of the kingdom, because the boss is like all the way at the top. So just like leaving him for later is a faster thing to do. But yeah, the boss itself is pretty slow to get to, so you don't see it very often. So I'm going to hit that switch so that we can get that flower road running, and then I'm going to come back and grab this moon. Hitting that switch is good because we have to wait for this flower road anyways to kind of manifest, so we can kind of backtrack and get the other moon while we're waiting. Yeah, because we're kind of stuck here. Trick jumpers have tried their absolute best to get from here to there, but it doesn't seem to be a possible jump to do, even if you were like a skilled trick jumper. Maybe I'm wrong. There might be a trick jumper in the chat right now that's like, yeah, we've done that before. I've tried. It's very, very hard.
That looks really tempting. Like that should be able to be done. Like that's what I was thinking that looking at that, but
Right? Yeah. It's very tempting to try, but unfortunately doesn't work out quite the way we want, so... Just so happens to be a sub-area right here as well. This is elevator escalation. And it's pretty straightforward. You just need to use the tank to blow up stuff and get to the end, but there is one hiding in the beginning. I'm going to use what's called a capture warp or a dram strategy. I'm going to throw Cappy behind me, and I'm shaking my controller so that I can just warp directly back to him instead of running back. Saves a little bit of time. Ooh, I didn't take damage. Let's go. Hopping out of this sherm so that we can kind of traverse this area a little bit cleaner. Capture a new one. And grab the moon. Alright, I'm going to try some movement here that I was practicing earlier. See if it works. Nope, not quite. That's okay.
Ooh.
I was going to try and like cut the corner really sharp and use those blocks over there, but that's okay. We can just do this. So this part I always found really weird. So we actually get rewarded a story moon for like breaking all of these panels. And usually story moons are like a good like checkpoint for your story progression in a kingdom. But this is like right before the boss. Like the only thing that separates us from the boss right now is a ramp. And then we go up the ramp and then we're fighting the boss. So we kind of get this power moon for free. I always thought that was kind of silly, but... And you'll notice that sometimes it's just because the checkpoints are right there, but a lot of the time I'm collecting checkpoints on purpose. And that just has to do with our second visit to the kingdoms. We are going to be revisiting every single one of them at some point. So if we can make our traversing through the kingdoms a little bit easier in our second visit, we're going to try our best to do that, right? So grabbing some checkpoints to make our next visit a little bit easier. This boss is pretty straightforward. It's probably like my least favorite boss in the game. There's like not a whole lot that you can do to like manipulate it or make it go faster. The only thing you can really do is manipulate the capture that you use to fight the boss, affectionately referred to as Speedy Nut Boy. You can see that when I first captured him, he was kind of slow. When I made a jump with him, he would like buffer on the ground for a moment. But I've actually manipulated his movement using the spawn platform so that he jumps further and he doesn't stop running when he hits the ground. That's about the only thing you can really do to make this fight any faster than the casual way.
that's my personal favorite capture in this game.
What, Speedy
Speedy
Nut
Nut
Boy?
Boy. Yeah. There's just something so satisfying about. I don't know.
The swift legume child
Yes.
of legend. There we go.
What are
For
both
what
of
you're-
your favorite captures?
I was actually just about to ask that, yeah. Either the meat or the fir tree.
The meat.
See, I feel like I have a brand to uphold, so I have to say the tree.
Yeah.
It would be wrong not to.
Yeah.
That's called the fir tree? Oh, because it's a fir. The type of tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think they call it
Oh,
a fir
gosh.
tree in the game.
I'm not even... It is some sort of coniferous tree. I'm not even
Yes.
sure if it's a fir tree,
Yeah.
but... All right. We've accomplished world peace, and you'll notice that world peace always comes with like a cheery air to the kingdom that you've saved. Like almost all the kingdoms start out a little bit darker and a little bit gloomier. The sun is out now in Wooded Kingdom. Like we've saved the day. It's great.
Yay.
One kingdom, yeah, it's awesome. I'm so happy that we brought peace to the land. Any percent runners, like, despicable. How dare they, like, leave the entire world in shambles?
Right?
Yeah, just for their own benefit of going fast. Unbelievable. One kingdom that kind of breaks that exception, though, is Metro Kingdom. You would think that Metro Kingdom, like world peace, oh, you just need to save the day. You just beat the Wiggler and then you win. For some reason, that's not the only requirement. Metro requires a little bit more than that, but we'll get there when we get there. So achieving world peace in Cloud Kingdom is really straightforward. All we have to do is complete it, because Cloud Kingdom is just a boss fight. So it's kind of cool, but you can kind of explain how this boss fight goes if you want.
Basically, we run up to Bowser, and we will try and throw Cappy at his hat in a way that will let us immediately pick up the hat. So what Dangerous is going to do on this second one is he's going to jump over it and throw Cappy, and the cat's cap is going to bounce into him, and he's going to be able to punch Bowser. Like, the way you'd normally do it in, like, a casual playthrough is Bowser would throw the hat, and you'd throw Cappy at it, like, somewhere near the middle of the arena, and then you'd pick up the hat and chase him around, but no, we don't need to do that in a speedrun. We can just cut out that middle part.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about, the hat's chasing us around and wasting all that time. We figured out a way to get the hat as soon as Bowser throws it, which is very handy for us. I also went out on my way to reveal that Luigi hint art. We actually don't use coins in this run for anything. I just kind of wanted to show that off because it's a fun
Now you have
trick
some
to do.
extra money in case you want to buy, like, a hat or something. I mean, now
True.
you're wearing a hat right now.
That is true.
You could buy a better hat.
I could buy a better hat. Maybe we will, because we can. So, Lost Kingdom doesn't actually have any sub-areas in it in the first visit. They are all Moonrock-like sub-areas. So we just have to get through Lost Kingdom as fast as we can. So we actually just do the any percent route for this kingdom. And I'm going to try my best to uphold good any percent movement, but this kingdom is really tough, so... Yeah, that'll do, I guess.
For those of you in chat who may not be super familiar with Mario Odyssey runs, normally your hat gets stolen at the beginning here, and
Yes.
we just... No.
Yeah, so that bird that we just kind of activated, their name is Klepto. I think I'm going to have to just take it. Yeah, that's okay. Their name is Klepto, and when you cross the bridge to get into the kingdom, like the natural way that you would, a cutscene plays and Klepto swoops down and steals Cappy, and then you have to get Cappy back. But we take a path around the backside of the kingdom to avoid that from happening at all, and it saves like 45 seconds. So it's a pretty substantial time save to prevent Cappy from getting stolen. And then in order to trick Klepto into thinking he has Cappy, we kind of like get up in Klepto's business for a second, and then Klepto, not a very smart bird, unfortunately, not really repping the Burb clan very well, is kind of dumb and thinks that he has Cappy when you get near him, so you can traverse the rest of the kingdom freely again. That's it. That was any percent. That wasn't too bad. that was pretty good for someone who hasn't done any percent Lost Kingdom in a while. All right. Metro Kingdom is the first kingdom in the run that introduces a sub-area that requires an outfit. And I say that lightly. There are actually a couple kingdoms in the run that require an outfit to get into. But Metro Kingdom is the first one, but we actually don't need the outfit because we can clip into this room. You're going to see what I mean a little bit later on, probably, but there are some sub-areas that are considered, or sorry, there are some outfit rooms that are considered sub-areas that we can't clip into, unfortunately, so we will be having to get some purple coins, but the Metro one is one that we can skip. Grabbing some checkpoints along the way, some fast moons that are sitting right here out in the open. right, let's see if I can do this movement in here. This also doesn't count as a sub area because again, it's kind of connected to the story. So, oh no, I missed it.
Ooh.
That's okay. We can wait for the elevator. This moon is like ubiquitous. Like no matter what your goal is, you almost always get City Hall Lost and Found because it's like just on the way. I actually can't even like really recall, except for like maybe Talkatoo %. I can't really recall a category where you don't collect City Hall Lost and Found. Can you, Fur?
No, not really. It's just right there. You always just grab it.
Yeah, exactly. Like the fastest way up the top of City Hall just so happens to cross paths with that treasure chest, so it would be silly not to. So yeah, this is part of the story here. This is the Wiggler boss fight. It's basically required in, I'm going to put a big asterisk on this, especially because we're talking about category extensions. Basically every category, it's required to complete Metro Kingdom because there just aren't enough moons in the nighttime portion of Metro Kingdom to fill your 20 circles and leave. So this is something that needs to be done. There is a way to skip it, and that involves a completely... Well, actually, can you do it? I think it's just 2-player, right? Can you do it on 1.3, or is that a 1.0 exclusive?
The
CRCs.
The CRCs, that's... I should know this, but I think you can do it on current patch, like the CRCs.
Looks like we might have a little technical difficulty here. Yeah. Yeah, just hang tight, chat. We're working on getting Dangers back to you. I know I was really excited for this too.
Hello, apologies. How's it going?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm back. Yeah, computer just crashed. That's cool.
Oh no.
Yeah, of course.
I'm glad you're okay.
I'm alive. I'm getting my stream back up right now. Okay. Sure. We are back, and I'm going to get the run started just now. I just had to pull up my resources again to make sure I knew where I was going. Thank you for holding. We're all back. We're ready to go, and I guess we'll get the timer started in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Hope you didn't miss me too much.
We were a
How
little
was everybody?
freaked. Everyone was
Well-
very concerned, but
A little spooked, yeah. A little bit spooked. That's okay. That happens, you know, technical difficulties. But we're back and ready for action. So now Metro Kingdom is one of the kingdoms that requires like a lot of moons. So we're going to be doing quite a lot of extra stuff. Here, I need to set this up again. There we go. We're going to be doing like a few extra moons along the side, just really quick ones to grab, like that one right there. We can kind of just use the scooter and like clip Mario's nose just far enough in to grab the moon without actually doing the whole like capture with the dude. I'm gonna try something in this sub area here. see if I can... that was over the top. Let me try again. There we go. So this sub-area is kind of weird. Like, there's a little bit of a crease. There's a little bit of a crease in the wall, and you can manipulate that by grabbing the wall and then letting go, so that you can grab the shards that are inside. It's a little bit tricky, so I might have to just skip it for this one, but... Sure. Did the stream stop working? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry. The production is just telling me they want to be able to see what's going on, so...
Yeah.
So we'll be right up with that in just a second. I'm just going to finish the sub area the normal way so that I can get that working right away. And we'll go in here. Okay. Take care of this piranha plant. Yeah, so I was able to get the clip with the first shard there. You can technically do it for both of those, but that's okay. We'll just have to skip on that one. Let's just move on. All right, commentators, can you see what's happening again?
Beautiful. Now we can see it.
Excellent.
I took your word that you did some cool things there.
Yeah. All right, speaking of cool things, this next sub-area has like a really interesting mechanic. So we're going to throw Cappy here, and we're going to walk to this area and then capture the fling pole, and then it's just going to warp us to this sub-area. For maybe, like, you know why that works, right? Maybe you can explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so basically the way the trigger for that sub-area works is it's basically just checking if Mario's, like, in a location while, like, capturing something, basically. Like, it's roughly, that's what's happening. So, when Danger's, like, homes Cappy towards the pole, when he's in, like, that location, it'll be like, oh, he should be in the sub-area. So, yeah.
Yeah,
It's something like that.
The main thing you're supposed to capture to get into the sub-area is a taxi. And the taxi's kind of sitting down the street a little bit. But when you capture the taxi, it, like, drives to that general location, and then the cutscene plays. So we figured out that all you needed to do was be in a capture in that area. So you can, like, capture something else and then roll to that spot, and the game is just like, oh, yeah, you're in the sub-area now. So,
yep.
Kind of just a cheeky way to cheat the game a little bit. All right, so we talked to Pauline, and Pauline is sending us on a mission for the rest of the story, which in this case is we need to collect 4 bandmates so that she can throw a proper festival. So we're going to kind of just do a little treasure hunt and collect all of our bandmates as quickly as we can here.
Which is the best bandmate, though?
The bassist, for sure. The OTEP guy.
The OTEP guy.
Affectionately referred to as. Yeah. All right. Now we get to do a sub area that is a fan favorite. It's a really fun one to do. This is bullet building, and when it goes right, it goes really right. So let's hope that I am able to do that. Right from the beginning, we got to fight with some cycles. And we have to go basically as fast as we possibly can to get this moon here. And it sets us up to get this. And we can just use this bullet bill to capture this moon right here.
Oh, that was snazzy.
Yeah, very slick, right? Honestly, that's why this game is so much fun to speedrun, is it's just like, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of just being able to just pull off some crazy stuff if you have, like, really good control over Mario.
As it turns out, Dangers does, in fact, have really good control over Mario.
Who would have known?
Who would?
So, you know how we've been kind of, like, collecting odds and ends moons here and there if they are acceptable and, like, fast enough to grab? It just so happens that there is a sewer portion coming up here. Anybody who's familiar with the sewer knows that, like, you kind of have to traverse them. There's a moon in there, there's some purple coins in there, and the sewer leads to some piranha plants that you have to defeat. That part is too slow for us, so we're going to try and clip through the wall again to skip that portion. This is probably one of the hardest, what we call roll cancel clips. One of the hardest roll cancel clips in the game, so if I do get it like early, it'll be awesome. It'll probably take me a couple tries, though. But it is a super cool trick, and yeah, it's like definitely very satisfying when you finally pull it off. So we're gonna try our best. But first, we have just one more sub area because it's on the way. This one's always so funny.
I just realized that Dinosaur's wearing goggles.
Yes.
I've never noticed that before.
Isn't that great? Because I mean, if he wasn't wearing goggles, you could just capture him.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh. Yeah.
That's kind of the gimmick of the game.
Is that the reason why?
Yeah, like even if you look at NPCs, even if you look at like friendly NPCs in this game, everything's wearing a hat. And if it isn't, it's a pretty good hint for you to throw your hat at it and possess its soul. And we're not going to talk about the morality logistics of that, but we are just going to point out that it is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've had many conversations about why I don't think that Cappy is a good being, but
All right, so we're going to use this wall here and a specific setup to hopefully roll right through the wall. Hey, there we go. Very nice.
hey.
That happened really quick. So usually that's usually a pretty good set of attempts right there. I think that was like 4th or 5th try. So definitely faster than going through the sewer the regular way. And so we powered up the station, and all we got to do is hit the big shiny red button. And that's all that Pauline requires for a festival worthy of Mario's honor. So we get to do the festival now.
How long would you say that roll clip there normally takes? Is that fairly
I
quick?
mean, it's one of those things that, like, I feel like speedrunners, as much as they say, like, some speedrunners might claim that they have a consistent setup, and maybe some people are more confident about it than others. But in my experience, it's still kind of just like cross your fingers and hope it works type of trick. So you could get it the first couple of tries, and then you're like, oh my goodness. But you could also be sitting there for like a solid minute and still not go through. So even though it's not RNG, because obviously it has to have a consistent way to do it, we really haven't figured out the exact quirks to make it work consistently. So yeah, it's really hit or miss. It could happen right away and you're happy about it, or it could take forever and you just kind of cry a little bit and start over.
I'm real glad we get to party in this category, though.
Yeah, there better be some dance emotes in that chat. There better be.
Oh, there are. There is some partying going on.
Excellent, excellent.
Heck yeah.
All right. See if I can do this part damageless. Fur would be very proud.
I would be, because I'm known for doing specifically this section of the game damageless. That's for sure.
Well, I do know you are Mr. Damageless, so.
Well, sometimes. Only on Wednesdays.
Only on Wednesdays.
Only on Wednesdays.
I didn't realize yesterday was Wednesday.
Give or take.
Oh yeah, of course.
Give or take a few days.
It's Fur's time.
If you guys ever want to see like a Mario gamer at like the top echelon, twitch.tv/4_, because he does a lot of like
Wait
Mario.
a second.
He does a lot
That's
of
a
Mario
weird
game
way
stuff.
to spell dangers.
I don't do the damageless stuff, for you do the damageless
Yeah, but you're
stuff.
a gamer.
That's fine. That's fine. I can be a gamer. I'm just saying, if you want to see damageless attempts, if you want to be on the edge of your seat, hoping that your favorite streamer, _, does really well, twitch.tv/4_.
What
Dude,
the
chat,
heck?
please give both of these gamers a follow if you don't already. They are both super fantastic. Obviously, we're seeing right here Danger's showcase a lot of phenomenal movement through Mario Odyssey here. Fur also, as we mentioned, does a lot of damage lists, different... You do what, Mario Odyssey and 3D World damage lists?
Yeah, I've already done Odyssey damage list. We did all of the moons.
All of them.
That's a lot.
All of them. That is a lot of them.
That's like a 7.5-hour run without trying to be damageless, I believe.
Yep.
I'm sure that's a lot longer if you're trying to be more careful.
It's true. So yeah, this is a damageless run, right, Dangers? All sub areas damageless.
Totally. Yep. Certainly haven't taken damage already. Smile.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see you take any damage. You're at 3 health.
Yeah.
That number would be lower if it wasn't damageless.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. For sure. That's just how it works. All right. So, I said that there was a outfit room in Metro Kingdom. We actually didn't do it. We're going to be doing it in the revisit. But in this one, we're actually going out of our way to get purple coins, and that's because the outfit room in this kingdom... Wait, is it this one? No, it's this one. Wrong hallway. The outfit room in this kingdom is considered a sub-area. There are 2 moons in there. So we are going to be going out of our way to basically open it up. And the only way that we can open it up is by doing the purple coins. There is a way to like clip out of bounds in this kingdom, and you're going to see it. But it unfortunately doesn't unlock the... like, if you get out of bounds, you can't just walk into the loading zone or anything like that. The game was too smart for us. So we unfortunately have to do it this way.
I have to say, speaking of Fur and Danger streams, they both, at least at one point, used to do a lot of All Moons runs. And I would always come in, I loved watching their streams, super, super comfy, cozy runs. But I'd always come in when they're jump farming here in Snow Kingdom, which we won't see here today, but...
We are about to go into that sub-area.
Yeah, the sub-area that happens is actually the sub-area that we're going to. And remember, the 4 hallways here that you see, they kind of resemble sub-areas, like you go into a door, but because they all house a story moon, they don't count as sub-areas. So we don't need to get any of the moons that are in there. We just need to get the moons that are in here. And yeah, this is a very good jumping farm location, because you can just get into one of those like crouching little alcoves as 2D Mario, and you can actually shake your controller to jump in this game. So you basically just get into one of those alcoves, and then you just shake your controller for like 7 minutes, and that's what Jump Farm looks like in this game. So...
Which, that's something I also, chat, if you haven't seen, I recommend watching an All Moons run at some point, or at least parts of it, because this is kind of, in a way, a little glimpse to maybe, you know, more of the content you don't get to see that you would definitely see in All Moons. That both Fur and Dangers run.
It's true.
Yeah, I run All Moons from time to time. I think Fur, you've gone back to doing it like once a week.
I'm doing it like once a week. It's pretty casual though, meaning I'm not gonna PB probably. But I mean, you never know.
It's honestly it's just a cozy run for the reasons that Nuke said. It's a really cozy run. Oh, I missed. That's okay. So I was attempting to use that moon. You can actually use that moon to like clip through the wall. Called a moon clip. I missed it, so I'm gonna have to go for a roll cancel clip here instead. This is also a pretty infamously difficult clip to do, so we might be here for a second. Not too long. That's
there
fine.
we go.
But the goal here is we need to complete the story. We need to accomplish World Peace, because World Peace opens up more sub-areas for us. But completing all 4 of those story hallways is very slow. So instead what we do is we just, we skip the barrier that is being put in front of us that unlocks through those story moons, and we just go straight there. And that's it. That's all we need to do. This is my friend Snoodle. If you've ever come by my streams, you know that we do like a little guessing mini game with the Snoodle. The idea is that we just, you can guess the time to the 100th of a second, and I gift you a sub in the channel. I'm not sure if anybody can keep eyes on that in the GDQ channel, but I'll upload that if somebody wins.
Yeah, get those guesses in chat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess.
Good guesses are between like 52 and 54 seconds. But I'm only honoring an exact guess, not the closest, none of that. It's got to be perfect.
Got 2 decimal places people should be guessing? All right.
That's right. And yeah, this is hilariously part of the story. Like, you need to do this in order to achieve world peace in Snow Kingdom. This funny, goofy little bouncy boy game. Yeah, it's part of the story. This is required. So...
I mean, how else are you gonna feel at peace without, you know, bouncing around?
Honestly, yeah, I couldn't tell you. This is the perfect
Exactly.
way.
Kind of incredible that just this one, what is this, a bear? What do we call it?
I've named them Snoodle, but they're just
Snoodle?
Chivarians. Chivaria is the name of the town, so...
This one Chivarian winning the race brings world peace.
Yes.
Right?
This particular one. If any of the other ones do, no peace.
Nope.
That's right. 52-53, by the way, was the final time. I saw a lot of 52-52s. I saw a lot of 52-52s.
I was 52-50.
That's a good guess.
It doesn't look like we had any 53s.
Oh man, unfortunate. Yeah, this close. I mean, you're twice as likely to be one off than you are to be on, right? So, GG's chat. Better luck next time.
Say you can all if you want more guessing. Again, you can check out twitch.tv/dangers or twitch.tv/fur_.
It's true.
And if either of them again are doing one of those all moon runs, there's a lot of races you can do those guesses in.
Yeah, there's 32, I think, to be exact. Is that correct, or am I 10 over Dangers?
32, yeah. So there's like Koopa free runnings, and then there's also Boundables, and there's also the RC car race. I think that equals 32 because each one you have to do twice.
Yeah.
Because Odyssey.
So there's
likes to,
16
Odyssey likes
races
pairs.
total.
The sub area is pretty straightforward. There's not a whole lot we can do to break it. It would probably help if I did like just jump into that Goomba stack for no reason, but we'll just kill them all, get them out of the way. Yeah, there's not a whole lot we can do to break it. If there was a way to like clip through one of the walls, then maybe we could like break through a cycle, but this one's pretty straightforward. Snow Kingdom is also home to a sub area that breaks the rules a little bit. Usually, again, sub areas are supposed to have 2 moons. There's one sub area that has just 1 in this kingdom, and we do have to do it. So we're gonna warp to the Odyssey. And the sub area that I'm talking about is right underneath me. And the way that you're supposed to get into this sub area is by using one of these Typhoos to like blow a wooden platform out of the way. But instead, I'm actually going to bring one here. I'm going to face this way. And by releasing the capture at just the right time, I can actually just phase through the wall and get into the sub area from the back, which saves a little bit of time.
It's a fun glitch.
It is a fun one, yeah. One of the easier ones, too. How did I blow that platform? What? Anyway.
I've had that happen before. It's annoying.
Let's do this. I can't say I've ever had that happen before. Classic GDQ moments, though, am I right?
Classic GDQ.
Yeah, it's really
I have to
confusing that...
ask-
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, since you clipped into this sub area, can you clip into any sub areas that like don't exist, like the Moonrock ones? Is that something that's potentially a possibility, or do they just not exist at all until you break the Moonrock?
That is a good question, yeah. But the loading zones for those sub areas basically spawn in when the Moonrock is broken, so there's nothing you can do about that. Because the sub areas are loaded in through like a moon pipe, like they have their own special kind of warp pipe, and those pipes just don't exist until you've broken the Moonrock. Very interesting question, though.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that sub area that we just did is extremely weird because there are a lot of other rooms in the game, like the puzzle room in Lake Kingdom, and a couple of rooms where you like go in a pipe and you like have to ground pound the ground in a specific spot. Like there's like a very small puzzle in a very small room, but those don't count as sub areas. But that one for some reason does, and it's very confusing. So I don't know why that is, but again, the rule here being it's a sub area if Cappy gives you the message when you enter the room in the post game after you visited once before. Like it's a very complicated explanation, but this is how it's defined, right? If you visit the room in the post game and you visited before, Cappy will tell you whether or not you've collected everything in it, and that's what a sub area is. So that just so happens to be one of them, and it's very weird. Now this one, I have done this room enough times that I know where all the platforms are, so that's how I'm able to just kind of jump through it like this. I just so happen to know where the pathways are. They're always going to be the same. Sometimes the clouds are nice to you, and sometimes they give you a little bit more visibility, but most of the time like this, you kind of have to, you know, make some leaps of faith. Oh, and we're in Seaside, by the way. So Seaside, we only need 10 moons to leave. So we're basically just going to be using that one sub area. I think one moon that's kind of fast. And then just story moons for the rest, because there are 7 story moons in total. And so the story in this kingdom basically revolves around these buttons. Every time you smash a button, it like uncorks one of the wells, and it hits the boss up at the top of the kingdom and makes him very angry. So we need to do that 4 times. Little cheat here. The way that you're supposed to get up on top of this lighthouse is to go in that well over on the bottom there. But you can actually just use a Gushen's height to cheat your way up, basically. Saves a lot of time. Doesn't even look like cheating. Like, it just looks so natural to use the capture in that way. But the only way you can usually get a Gushen to go that high is by like landing on platforms that are higher as well. I think it wants us to go this way. Yeah, that's right. This is probably my favorite boss in the game, too. Speaking of which...
Dangers?
All right. Hello? Hi?
Hi.
I'm still here.
Hello.
Oh, okay.
We lost you.
I'm sorry, Discord. Having a little bit of technical difficulties. But we're still here. I promise. I'm still alive. Still collecting just the switches here. We're going to ground pound into the water and collect this moon eventually. There we go. And then we get to do the boss. My favorite boss of the whole game, in my opinion, I think.
Your favorite boss?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
I know.
Is there any particular reason this is your favorite boss?
Mainly because he's very broken. But also, he has a kind of a cool name. I don't know. I think I might have mentioned it on the stream like once or twice before. I'm not really sure, though. Maybe.
Not sure.
Possible that I've let his name slip like here or there.
What's his name?
Have you guys heard his name before? I'm sure you know his name, right?
Yeah, I need a drink of water, Dangers.
Oh. Okay, well, while you take that sip of water, I guess I'll call him Brigadier I actually messed it up this time. That never happens. That's never happened before.
That's never happened before.
Brigadier Mollusk Lancer III, Dauphin of Blaine. There we go. That is his canonical name. You can even search that up. I dare you. Google it. What is the name of the seaside boss? Brigadier Mollusk You're the third defendable blade. And I don't know why they called him that. That's a very fancy way to say that his dad is the king. And he's very cool. And that's all you need to know about him. But yeah, so if we do this boss fight just right, we beat him to all of the locations that he's supposed to be. And he clips through the hot springs like that. Not sure why it happens, but it's very handy for us, because otherwise he would do this path like all the way around the outside, and it would take forever. So it's pretty cool that we kind of just get to avoid that. And that's it. We've defeated the boss. We get ourselves the multi-moon that he drops, and we get to leave Seaside. No boy, Luncheon Kingdom next. Right for underscore?
I was going to ask, would this be a good time for us to take a quick little wellness break?
Sure, yeah. That works for me.
We can hip-hop into luncheon.
Sure, I will... I guess I'll count us down for a pause. We can go 3, 2, 1, pause.
Perfect. All right, chat. We are going to take a quick little wellness break, so make sure you get up and stretch with us. We're all going to get up and stretch, get some more water, take a bathroom break if you need to, and we'll be back soon with more of all sub areas.
That's right.
Welcome back, everyone, to the premiere of No Category Left Behind, a new GDQ hotfix show that showcases category extensions. I'm your host, Nuclear Reaction, and we're here with Dangers and Fur, running Super Mario Odyssey all sub-areas. Just a few reminders, coming up after the show at around 10 p.m. Eastern is the Community Spotlight featuring Soul Axiom rebooted, and a preview of Legally Cute with Cutie Roo SR running Songbird Symphony. We have quite a few new shows starting up in the next couple of weeks. Head over to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix and watch our Twitter for information on when they start. All right, Dangers, whenever you are ready to count us down and get us started again for luncheon.
Sure thing. We're going to get into luncheon right away. I'm going to count us down. 3, 2, 1, go. So here we are, finishing up Seaside, and we're only a couple kingdoms away from completing the main game. And if you're familiar with Odyssey speedrunning, you probably are familiar with like some of the longer categories being like main game is setting things up so that you can do the post game really quickly. And that's very much the idea here as well. But because all we need to do are the sub areas, there's not a whole lot of like actual setting up we need to do aside from world peace in the first visit. So when we get into the post game, things are going to be going very quick. We're going to be like flying through the each and every one of those kingdoms like really fast, because we're basically just entering some of those sub areas that were either unavailable or out of the way, and then we're just going on to the next kingdom right away. So the post game is going to be very, very fast as a result of that, which is kind of fun, kind of a good showcase. We're going to traverse very quickly here. And same thing with this visit through here. Just immediately going to this boss fight right here. And now this is Speward again. We saw Speward in Wooded Kingdom. And this fight is much harder than the first one. We actually are in a rectangular arena instead of a circular one, so you can just imagine how difficult that is. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, that rectangle looked really tough there.
Well, Mario, what are you doing in the cutscene? Get out of there.
Oh, I got out of there.
Yeah, he's not supposed to be in the cutscene. That's Speward's cutscene. He's having a dramatic moment. Anyway. So our first sub-area on Luncheon is actually right here, hidden out of sight from where we are right now. Just a cheeky little door down there. So we're going to go in here, because it's right here. This is actually one of the sub-areas that gets a reboot later on. One of the objectives of this category is to unlock Darkside. And Darkside is kind of like a bonus kingdom. It is home to a boss gauntlet, and it's also home to a bunch of, I guess, kind of reboot sub-areas. And the idea of those reboot sub-areas is to Bring a sub area that you've already accomplished or experienced somewhere else in the game, and add a challenge. And the challenge is either they take away Cappy from you, or they make you use Yoshi. And that really is a challenge. It sounds kind of silly, but it is definitely a challenge. Because Yoshi is unfortunately not very good in this game. Don't hate me, Yoshi fans. Like, I really wish Yoshi was good in this game, but he's just really not.
Yeah.
So that one is one of the sub areas that gets the reboot later.
I'm trying to think which 3D Mario games have a particularly good Yoshi, and I feel like Galaxy might be the only one.
Yeah, Galaxy 2, I think you're probably right.
Hmm.
Galaxy 2's Yoshi is amicable and actually quite useful, especially in the speedrun. You could say that Super Mario 64's Yoshi is really cool because he just kind of stands there. So he's not doing anything wrong, which is better than a lot of the other Yoshis can say. So we did a little round trip of the Luncheon Kingdom town. And that is because we needed to put on the chef outfit. If you have chef emotes, go ahead and get those rolling. We love those chef emotes. And that's because this area behind the outfit room is considered to be a sub area as well. Same thing, no way to kind of clip in here. We need to get the outfit. And just like all sub areas, there's going to be 2 moons in here. We just got to traverse the stage. One of the hardest, not necessarily the hardest, one of the trickiest ones for me to find when I was doing my very first casual playthrough was actually one of these ones, because I was like, okay, you got to put yourself in the soup pot. Where's the other one? It's at the beginning. It's just both the soup pots, and I definitely didn't anticipate that they would just put the other moon there.
Yeah, I could definitely see that tripping some people up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm actually going the wrong way. Hold on a second. I'm not supposed to do this yet.
What the heck, Dangers?
I'm missing sub areas.
Oh no!
Okay,
We
we'll
can't
be back.
forget those.
That's the name of the
That's the whole
category.
category.
Yeah. What's going on here?
I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I apologize. We're actually going to come here, grab this checkpoint, and then go to this sub area. And this sub area is pretty famous, I would say, because it's featured in the 80% speedrun. A very fun one and a very fast one. The movement in here is always just you can't hate this movement. Just using the fork flicks to get all the way up the top of the kingdom. And both the moons are just kind of hanging out here. Oops, there we go. And we're going to use this guy. Oh, I got attacked. Okay, it's nice to know that moon actually just sits there. That's handy information. I'm learning something new about the game along with you, everybody. It's exciting
No
stuff.
longer a damageless run.
Yeah, I'm sorry for... Please don't get mad at me.
I'm gonna have to go.
Oh no.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, that was the only condition. As long as I kept it damageless, he was gonna stick around.
I'll stick around for the novelty, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all right.
This sub area is well, it's a sub area for sure. It's probably one of my least favorite ones, just because the Hammer Brother is pretty. The hammers are, well, I guess the pans are very kind of unorthodox, and they don't really play by the rules. They kind of go all over the place. They're kind of RNG, so using them to break open cheese blocks is a little bit annoying, especially if you're a speedrunner. But it's okay. We got all the moons we needed. We can get out of here.
Oh, pretty recently I was doing, I think it was all moons I was doing of Odyssey, and just a casual playthrough. And Dangerous popped in while I was in that room, and I was like, I can't find the stuff in here. This room is difficult.
Yeah, they hide it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's not a fun sub area in my opinion, but got to do it. And it's still a sub area, so.
It's true. We got to do all of them.
The sub area coming up here is one that fits into, like, when it goes right, it's pretty fun. But it's very easy for things to not go right, so we'll hope for the best here. So these, like, narrow pathways we have to, like, very carefully traverse with this Podoboo who likes to move pretty fast. Yeah, we got it. Very nice. So just so happens.
Oh, does that one go wrong because of the cycles or just the Podoboo's movement?
It's a little bit of both. A little bit of A, a little bit of B. The Podoboo, like, in the air can be kind of tricky to control and can be kind of slippery at times. And as well, like, there are cycles as well. So if you're not, like, right on your cycles, then it can be kind of hard to make those really fast jumps that I was making. But we're good. We got the meat, which, like I said, is probably one of my favorite captures. So I'm glad that we're here.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And now we do something that's, like, very baffling in my opinion. Like, there's nothing really that we need left. So we just are going to beeline it for the story elements. We're just, like, from the beginning of the kingdom. From the beginning of the kingdom, we're just booking it right to the story. We're skipping everything along the way. Oh, including my ability to roll up this wall here. There we go. Like, there are a lot of fast moons along the way, and I'm sure people, like, are like, you're missing all of these things. Like, are you really supposed to be doing this? Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
there's even
gotta get the sub-area moons.
Well, yeah. There's even a moon in here that we just, like, jump right over.
Oh, really dangerous. But you went through a door. You're inside somewhere. How is it not a sub area?
Because that's a story moon for underscore.
Oh, all right, fine. Have it your way.
I will.
Yeah, real quick, could we explain again what all sub areas means for those viewers who might just be joining us here?
Absolutely. So a sub area in this game, you can kind of think of it as, like, the areas in Sunshine, where you would, like, go in and the music would get all, like, spooky, like, jazzy and fun. They're, like, separate areas outside of the main worlds, and they typically have 2 moons in them. There are exceptions to the rule, of course. 2 moons in them, sometimes some purple coins. But not every doorway or pipe is necessarily a sub-area. If you visit a sub-area and then come back to it in the post-game, Cappy will say something along the lines of, like, there are this many moons missing or this many purple coins missing. So a sub-area is defined by that metric. If you go into a room in the post-game and Cappy tells you you still need something to find here, that is what is considered a sub-area. And I think the moons total, like, 160, 140. I don't remember the exact number of moons that exist within sub-areas, but it's quite a lot. There are a lot of sub-areas in this game.
Well, we'll be collecting actually more than that because some of the sub-areas are locked behind, what is it, 255 moons?
Yeah, we need 250 to get to Darkside, and then when we complete Darkside, that'll be 253. And then I think there's, like, 5 or 6 sub-areas within Darkside, so the total moon count for this run ends up running somewhere like 460-ish. So 465, maybe? That sounds right. Oh yeah, that was Cookateel, by the way. We've completed the story in Luncheon Kingdom. Probably one of my least favorite bosses, because the hitboxes on this boss are very open to interpretation, we'll say, by the game. The game doesn't really like to make that boss function nicely, but we actually had no problems, so that's fine. Gonna count our blessings there. And that's it. Luncheon Kingdom all done. We can just move on. Now, this is actually a category that gets to showcase Ruined Kingdom, which is not something most categories get to say. It's Ruined Kingdom is a kingdom that we even skip in Darker Side, which is a kingdom that kind of very famously jumps through all the kingdoms as fast as possible with a lot of revisits, but not Ruined. We do have to revisit Ruined Kingdom because even though the first visit is just a boss fight, the second visit is going to have some sub areas that we can visit. So we will be coming back to Ruined Kingdom, which is an interesting kind of perk of this category.
I definitely feel like we don't get to visit Ruined Kingdom much besides that boss fight
Definitely.
in most runs.
And it really is a shame because I like the theme of this kingdom a lot. I think maybe even Nintendo could probably have done a little bit more with it than they did. Because think of like the spooky haunted castle kind of aesthetic that they've got going on here. Like there could be a boo capture, there could be. I feel like this is kind of maybe Fur can agree with me on this one. It almost feels like this is where they dumped their like last resort ideas when it comes to like some of the things that are in this kingdom. Like there's not a whole lot of moons to collect. It is just an arena with a boss fight and then some extra content tacked on. One of the sub areas is really cool though, but maybe that's just because we can skip it, sort of.
Yeah, they definitely could have done more with the idea in the kingdom, but they just didn't.
Yeah,
Just it's a little disappointing.
Yeah, there's one sub area in particular that doesn't even really like fit the theme of Ruined Kingdom at all. Like it exists in kind of like a blocky, cloudy space, like some other sub areas do.
It's a sub area.
Yeah.
It's a sub area that could arguably fit in any kingdom, and you wouldn't like. Yeah, it could go anywhere. It doesn't need to be in Ruined Kingdom.
Yeah. I think Fur has gone on record very famously when he started running All Moon saying something like, why does the sub area exist?
It's true. Why does it exist? The challenge in it is like walk forward and pull a lever.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It definitely is like the beta testing ground for the charging shot, and I think that's it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But you know what? It exists, so we got to do it. Ruined is one of the last places we'll visit, though, in this speedrun, so we won't be coming back to those sub-areas for a little bit anyway. Maybe about an hour or so.
We're missing out.
Only for now. Only for now. Don't worry, we'll be back. It's okay. Just finish up the boss fight, and then we get to go on to Bowser's Kingdom. And Bowser's Kingdom has another sub-area that exists behind an outfit room, and no way to clip into the outfit room or access the door that we know of, so we are going to have to collect a little bit of purple coins along the way. But yeah, basically just doing Bowser's Kingdom basically the normal way. A lot of the stuff in Bowser's, as far as sub-areas are concerned, we're going to leave for the post-game because it's such a big kingdom and there's just so much space to traverse that it makes more sense to kind of leave it for later and just warp around later when we have more accessibility. But yeah, to get the outfit, we need to collect 15 purple coins. So that's what we're going to do right off the bat. That's our first objective. We need to have 15 purple coins before we get to the souvenir shop, which is like maybe 2/3 of the way through the kingdom. So the first thing I'm going to do, get these purple coins back here. Try for a capture warp strategy. Very nice. To get some more purple coins. Now, Bowser's Kingdom's kind of weird. We talk about this every time it comes on the Hotfix show, but the hollowed out circles that are in the top left corner of the screen, they're famously just very gone for Bowser's Kingdom. And it's because it's trying to do that like bait and switch thing that Mario games do nowadays, where it's like, oh, this is the final battle. You're in Bowser's Castle. Like, what more could there be? Surprise, there is more. Spoiler alert, in case anybody hasn't played this game. But the game is trying to
Dangerous, come on.
the game is trying to tell you that this is the last place to go. So those hollowed out circles are gone. We as speedrunners, of course, know how many we need to progress to the next kingdom. But the game likes to keep that a secret until we complete the story. So that's why they're not there.
Here
Yeah,
I was
sorry.
thinking we were about to blow past the estimate and beat the run in an hour and a half. What
Yeah,
the heck?
Sorry to burst your bubble fur. I was trying to do a fancy thing, but unfortunately just messed it up. Oh, time lost ram. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, you hate to see that. Oh, I missed something also. I need some purple coins. That's okay. The time lost ram was trying to tell me something. They were like, you're forgetting something. Because the next island that we're going to is the souvenir shop, and we have 11 out of 15 coins, so... So we'll just grab those ones. We're going to do another dram strategy here. This one is supposed to save time. Nice, we got the wire. So we're going to grab that checkpoint, and then we're going to go into the shop. And this is actually not the last outfit we'll need to buy. We are in the second to last kingdom that buys an outfit. The next outfit is actually the most expensive one in the run. But we got to beat the game first. So we're going to be a samurai until we beat the game. And that's because the sub-area is actually right behind the souvenir shop. But we need to be dressed as a samurai to get in.
I love that guy's samurai outfit. Look at him.
He's
So
doing a great
authentic.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's what samurais look like, right?
Yeah.
The sub-area always reminds me of, like, this is one of the very last things that you do in All Moons. You're kind of, like, in the cleanup section. So whenever I do the sub-area, I'm kind of think I'm at the end of a long road, but in this case, we actually do it quite early in the run. Yeah, have we talked about the language yet? I'm seeing some kind of conversation about what language we're playing in the chat right now.
I don't think we have yet.
Yeah, something we can touch on really briefly here. So the game the language we're playing in is, well, I'm actually playing in simplified Chinese. I think for any percent it was found out that traditional Chinese is like something negligible, like 3 frames faster or something. But runners used to play in Japanese for the longest time because it was originally determined that that was the fastest language, and we've since learned that it was Chinese, actually. And yeah, it has everything to do with just text boxes. And when we mash through them, how much text shows up on the screen. If you can get the same message across in fewer text characters, then obviously you're going to be going faster. So that's why we picked Chinese. There we go, the second one worked. So this is a kind of a cool trick to do this Harriet fight. This bomb is suspended in the air, and we can kind of actually just throw it at Harriet right there. I tried to do it in the first phase because it's a little bit faster to do it in the first phase, but it works just as fine in the second one as well. Saves a little bit of time rather than waiting for Harriet to throw bombs in every phase. And then this is Topper. Do you remember Topper? We haven't seen Topper since Cap Kingdom, like way at the beginning. And speedrunners make this fight look really, really easy. All of the brutal fights have sequence breaks of some kind. So like if you jump on the boss or you like throw your cap at the boss in a certain way, then you can kind of get them to skip forward through their transitions, through their phases. And so we utilize that, obviously, to save the time. And now that we've done the sub area, we only needed 2 extra moons, plus the story moons to leave Bowser's Kingdom. We actually grabbed a couple extra because, like I said, we need to get 250 total, and there's a lot of fast ones in Bowser's. So now that we've done that, all we need to do now is make it to the top of the kingdom, complete the boss fight, and make our way to Moon Kingdom. So this is just going to be a quick sprint up the kingdom as fast as I possibly can. Gonna avoid this jump, yeah, because that has killed runs before. It's a very common place to lose runs, is on that jump right there. Fur, what's your favorite kingdom?
Favorite kingdom? Well, since it's a Monday, I'm gonna have to say Wooded Kingdom.
Classic Monday answer.
Yeah.
What about you, Nukes?
Oh, I love the music in Wooded Kingdom, but I can't say Wooded Kingdom too.
Yeah.
So, Luncheon.
Luncheon.
You get to be meat.
That's true. You do get to be meat.
How can you go wrong with
Nukes,
that,
are you
right?
hungry?
When am I not?
Honestly relatable. Luncheon would have been my answer as well. Mainly because as a casual player, like, yeah, the environment of Luncheon is really cozy. You know, the food everywhere. I like the molten Pepto-Bismol aesthetic. The music is really good. But also, yeah, food, and the sub areas are really fun, which you're gonna see when we revisit.
This boss here is what I remember kind of infamously when everyone started running Super Mario Odyssey as being kind of a big barrier almost to any percent.
Certainly. Yeah, and the amount of time it's taken for us to do this fight has gone down significantly. Like, the original idea of this fight as the casual player is to, like, use the Pokio capture and, like, peck bombs into their legs, and then, like, the Robo Brutal falls over, and then you, like, go and you keep pecking one of the bubbles until it bursts. You repeat that 4 times. That's not what I did at all.
No.
It's basically just a big platforming stage, and we get up to the top, and we try and stay up on the top the whole time. Yeah, so it's very, very, very quick, and like literal minutes of difference if you do it the normal way versus the speedrun way. So definitely still a run killer. It's easy to lose 20 seconds if you fall off, and falling off is incredibly easy as it turns out, especially when your nerves are high. Like, you know, a lot of people think like speedrunning is hard because you have to do tricks and stuff. It's like, yes, but on top of that, you know, when you are really passionate about something and you're on the precipice of being able to succeed and, like, you know, improve, you've been putting all of this heart and soul into it, and you're like right at the end of like almost being able to accomplish a new goal, the nerves are high, and having that be like right at the end of the game makes things very nerve-wracking. So it's still a very difficult challenge to overcome. All right, Moon Kingdom. Now, Moon Kingdom actually doesn't have any sub-areas for us until we get to the post-game, so we are just going to make our way through Moon Kingdom the any % way, with the exception of one checkpoint. And we'll need the checkpoint because the Moon Rock is in kind of like a middle-of-nowhere location in this kingdom, so we're going to get the checkpoint just so we're a little bit closer when we do our revisit later. Now you're noticing I'm kind of like zigzagging through the air, and that's actually for a reason. It helps me get a little bit more distance. Can you explain vectors maybe, Fur?
Vectors are a thing in Mario Odyssey, and honestly a lot of like 3D games where if you travel through the air at an angle, you'll actually go a little bit faster and pick up more speed than if you just like jump straight forward. Why that's the case, I don't know. Somebody who knows programming probably knows why, but I don't, so it just sort of happens. And we take advantage of it a lot, especially in Moon Kingdom.
Yes, especially in Moon Kingdom, because your jumps tend to last a lot longer and they go a lot higher, so you can take advantage of that airtime. We also do it at the very beginning of the speedrun with the frogs, because frogs kind of have moon gravity just on Earth, so... All right, now we're going to be doing our final boss fight here. So this Bowser fight is basically a clone of the one that we did earlier in Cloud Kingdom. We just get up in his face. The only difference going to be that he swipes his tail at us a couple more times than the first way, or the first visit. And he also has this phase in between where he spits fire at us, and it's very intimidating. At least the game would have you believe. But you can actually just roll right over the top of the fire because it's basically just a line on the ground that sweeps back and forth. So as long as you're not on the ground when the line passes, then you won't take any damage. Are you proud of me, Fur? I didn't take any damage.
I'm proud of you, Dangers.
Thank you, Fur. I'm going to take some damage on purpose later, too.
Wait! What do you mean?
No, you'll see. Don't worry.
Can you imagine taking damage on purpose?
That one wasn't on purpose. Now I'm scared.
Oh my gosh, Dangers, why are you doing this to me?
I was just trying to show off a little. I'm sorry. Alright, so we're going to crash into this hat. And that just lets us set up a little bit easier for capturing this hat. 3 swipes. Some more punches, 1 more swipe. And the fight is done. And then we're finished Super Mario Odyssey, right, for underscore?
Yeah. I mean, no.
Oh, wait. Shoot, what's this? Oh, we get to capture Bowser. Of course. I forgot. How could I forget? This is such a climactic part of the video game. Hi, guys. This is my first time.
How would I even forget about this when we were talking about favorite captures?
Right, Bowser?
This is so iconic.
It is. Like, I kind of saw the build-up for this. I was like, oh, yeah, we get to be Bowser. I'm so excited. All right, so part of this includes a 2D area. I'm going to do my best to skip it. It's a really hard trick. This is probably the hardest trick in the game. So if it takes me too long, I won't continue going for it. But
send all the good vibes, chat.
Good vibes in chat. Oh, because then that can happen.
No! An attempt was made.
An attempt was made, and I'll make one more attempt. Sometimes when I die, it actually makes good RNG, so that when I try the trick again, then we just get it on the first try. So let's try it again. If it doesn't work, that's okay. Like I said, this is one of the hardest tricks in the game. Essentially, what I'm trying to do is like scale the wall on the outside of the 2D area so that I don't have to go in at all. If you get it on the first try, it saves about 7 seconds, but it is a trick that like literally one runner at the top level is putting in their speedruns and nobody else, because it's right at the end and it's very scary. Come on now, Bowser. Oh, he's not even like grabbing the ledge this time. I'm going to give it one more shot. That second one is really tough to land on, so... Yeah, he's not cooperating today. Oh, there we go. Hey, let's go.
What
Aiming.
a gamer!
Oh, it feels
I've
good
ever
to showcase
seen
that
that
one.
actually.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's super tough. I obviously didn't save any time because it took me so many tries to get, but it's super cool to be able to show it off finally. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, and then we just have the pillar room remaining, and we just kind of got to charge through, finish the pillars, and then we're into the post game. And like I said, the post game is great because we've set ourselves up for the post game. So the post game is going to just be a quick revisit to all of the places we've already been, picking off sub areas as we go along, and getting our moon count to 250 so that we can go to the dark side of the moon. And that's going to be it.
So we're about to finally see all the build-up we've had from earlier, setting up so that we can just bam, bam, bam.
That's right, exactly. All right, Moon Kingdom. All finished up. Here we go. So
GG Strangers. Congrats on finishing the run. Smile.
The run is definitely over. Yep, for sure. Nothing left. The credits are rolling. We can go home.
138 any percent.
Ooh, let's go.
Ooh.
I guess that's world peace. Yeah.
That is world peace. Yep, we've accomplished world peace.
Yeah, submit that to the world peace leaderboards.
Now, I have something to announce. That trick that you just saw me do is risky and it's very difficult. But it's perhaps not even the riskiest trick that I've ever done in a GDQ showcase. That still is to come at the very end of this run. So look forward to that. Yeah, I've not had to do this trick in any GDQ showcase, and it's probably just the riskiest trick, full stop. But I'm gonna do it anyway, just for the sake of showcase, because I think that that's the most fun thing to do. So stay tuned. In the meantime, we're in Mushroom Kingdom now, and Mushroom Kingdom has an outfit room that's also a sub area as well. We need to put on the Super Mario 64 outfit, and we're actually going to be wearing that until the end of the run. So we get to finish the run as Super Mario 64 Mario, which is kind of cool. But this outfit is extremely expensive. So we need 35 purple coins.
That might be my favorite outfit to wear in this game.
It's a good one. I'm a big fan of like the washed out colors Mario, the one that kind of like imitates what Mario's colors used to be. So I tend to wear that one. But maybe that's because I'm old school.
That's a close second for me. What about you, Fur?
My favorite outfit is the 8-bit outfit. Just because it doesn't have any animations, so when you roll it, the whole model just sort of rolls across the ground.
Yeah.
That's true. That's all of that. So one of the sub areas we actually need to reveal with Yoshi. So we're going to come up here and we're going to capture the boy. He's going to collect this checkpoint. Then we're going to take him down here, and in here is a little pipe. It's got a little fruit on it, and we just got to come in here. Now this sub area is... Well, I mean, any sub area that has Yoshi in it is frustrating. I don't know if you can agree with me on that one, Fur. I'm not a big Yoshi advocate in this game.
Yeah, Yoshi in this game is pretty finicky. So, definitely agree.
He's got some cool mechanics, like you can lick the ground. Oh, that Goomba tried to do it to me, dude. Oh, he tried.
Yeah, that always happens.
You can lick the ground to run faster, and he also can like do kind of his own like silly wall jump. But trying to control his mechanics tends to be a little bit finicky, and he doesn't always stick his tongue where you want him to. So that can be a little bit unfortunate. But we're good. We saved it. We didn't die in that sub area. That sub area is really scary, so. Grab those purple coins, and then we're going to come into the shop. And we have just enough purples to buy the Super Mario 64 outfit, so we're going to do that.
Wow, it's like you routed that perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Knew which purple coins we needed to just kind of do a quick little loop of the kingdom and then get this outfit. And no more. No more, no less. So that sub area is on the other side of this castle. We're just going to go over the top. I love how the Toad is wearing a, like, 64-bit Mario hat as well. It's a good touch.
So it kind of goes with the question, is Toad wearing a hat on his hat? Or a hat on his head?
Are they? They're canonically hats, right?
I see, that to me has convinced me that canonically that's part of his head.
Right?
Why would he be wearing a hat on his hat?
Maybe Nintendo doesn't want to reveal the horror that is Toad's actual head. I can only imagine how terrifying that is.
Yeah. Just sort of imagining like Toad but instead of having like the little mushroom hat, it's just like a baseball cap. Yeah,
right. But then he'd just kind of be like a short-looking dude, you know?
Yeah, he would be. Short little dude.
All right, this sub-area is infamous for anybody who's played Super Mario Odyssey.
This one.
Yeah, this one is particularly tricky because it all exists on a 2D plane, and if you accidentally slip outside of the 2D plane for any reason, then you become 3D Mario again, and there's nothing to catch you beneath the level. So, like, you have to do this all in one shot, essentially. Otherwise, you have to start from the beginning. So, for that reason, it is particularly tricky and particularly risky and very difficult. So we're going to hope. We're going to hope for the best here. First
Doing a
moon
little
just
bit
kind
of jump farm.
Yep, that's honestly like this in all moons runs. This is like right at the end of the run as well. So you're just getting in those last couple of jumps for your jump farm, and you're hoping that you don't like completely blow your speed run right at the end. It's great.
Yep, it's true.
Now I have to ask both of you, having run all moons, are there still any of these that really still make you nervous? Because I know these are obviously infamously tricky.
In terms of sub areas, this one for sure. Yeah. There are a couple of challenges in the game that still make me like really sweat. Dark side being one of them, darker side being another, volleyball being another. I know that's not one that people traditionally probably think of when they think of like super run-ending challenges, but it's got the same kind of thing to it. Like if you mess it up, you have to start from the beginning, so you just lose like minutes upon minutes of time.
I would say volleyball is the big one, just because it's like really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only way I can do volleyball is with the cappy cheese, where you put on 2-player.
Yeah.
Can't do that in a speed run, so.
No.
2-player not allowed, that's right. Oops. All right, so that's Mushroom Kingdom out of the way. We're done with Mushroom Kingdom. So we can just head on over to Snow now. We're going to start by going this way.
Will we be primarily moving around by paintings for the rest of the run here?
Yeah, so we are in the painting chain now, which means that we're going to be operating through the paintings, and like we're not going to take the Odyssey until we need to later on. Because there are a handful of kingdoms that aren't connected to our painting chain, so they can only be accessed by the Odyssey. So now that we're in the painting chain, it just makes sense to do the entire painting chain all in one go, and then do those kingdoms at the end. So this is a little bit of a weird, complex movement thing. Probably don't even know what's going on, really, if you're just watching at home. But this rocket flower, typically what happens when you grab a rocket flower, if you collect a moon like this, the rocket flower disappears. It's just not there anymore. So the movement that I did there is I did a spin throw with Cappy, and then I ground pounded before I got to the moon. And because the rocket flower was not connected to me anymore, it was connected to Cappy, the game refreshed it. And that's what's called a rocket flower refresh. And that let me keep all of the rocket flowers that I'd accumulated in the level, so I could just run up the ramp instead of getting new ones. Saves a lot of time. All right.
Sometimes I forget rocket flower refreshing is even a glitch, just because of like how naturally it comes when doing it in speedruns. Because it really is just that simple.
Ooh, nice. So I didn't even get a chance to really prepare you guys for this one.
And making it look easy.
In case you couldn't guess, this is not how you're supposed to do this sub-area.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like this is not the intentional way.
Yeah.
So Dangers, what are you supposed to do in that sub-area?
Not that.
things that are not that, yeah. That room actually has a bunch of flower roads in it, and the idea of that sub-area is to use the flower roads to reveal pathways that you very slowly walk along, because you have to give Cappy up to keep the flower roads going. So instead of giving up Cappy and losing a part of my movement, I used Cappy and landed on these very, very thin wooden planks to navigate the kingdom instead. I think it saves about... I think at all moons it's supposed to save like 8 seconds or something like that, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's also because there's quite a few coins and like cap throws and stuff in that room that you can kind of farm while you're waiting for the kingdom to keep going. So I would say in a run like this, it probably saves even more, probably in the ballpark of like 12 or 13. And it's a very flashy trick, so I'm really glad I got that one on the first try, because it's really difficult. This sub area is very difficult. Not necessarily because like the challenge is hard, but if I were to fall at any point without having picked up this moon, I would have to go back and grab the nut and plant it in the planter again. I would have no choice in the matter. Like I would have to do all of that again. There's one in Wooded like that as well, where like if I accidentally fall down too early, then I have to plant the beanstalk again, and it takes a lot of time to do that. All right, we're all done with Snow Kingdom. That was our last sub area of Snow Kingdom. We got to do one trick though to get out of snow. No, not quite. Yeah, this is a really tricky jump. Maybe Fur, you can explain what's happening here?
Yeah, so when you're on the ground, when you bounce on Cappy, you do a higher bounce, and if Dangerous hits this in just the right spot, the game will think that he's on the ground when bouncing on Cappy. So Dangerous will be able to get like enough height to do the jump, but Dangerous was able to do it there without actually getting the extra height, which is possible, just really hard. So
yeah, I wasn't getting the vault that I wanted as quickly as I wanted, so I just decided to go and try it that way, and I was very lucky to get just enough height. All right, now we're in Cascade. Cascade has is probably one of my favorite kingdoms for sub areas. It's there's like a lot of really cool ones, one right after the other. So they're really tricky. They also have kind of like high risk, high reward type stars, or I guess moons in them. So we can hope that I do it all correctly. We're going to start with this one though. This one is basically just a billiards challenge. I'm seeing a question in the chat. Oh, I was going to say that there's a question in the chat about did I just grab the painting moon out of like reflex? Not really, actually. So if we get all of the story moons and we get all of the sub area moons, the number that we're going to arrive at is going to be less than 250. And we need 250 moons to get to Darkside because there are sub areas there. So there are quite a few moons in this run that we get just because they're super fast and they help kind of pad ourselves to 250. And a lot of the painting ones are moons like that because they're just sitting out in the open. But yeah, sorry, what were you going to say, Nukes?
I was just going to say that this area tripped me up the most in my casual playthrough because I could not find that hidden one behind the wall there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the secret ones in sub-areas can be kind of tricky sometimes. All right, this sub-area is one of my favorites. If it goes right, we can sure hope so. Gonna jump around this way. Do what's called a Shirane bounce, which is basically just like a really close proximity cat bounce to a wall like that. Very difficult to do. Your timing has to be basically perfect. And then it's just a matter of skipping the rest of this level. So, pretty cool sub area, one of my favorites, when it goes right anyway. And then right after that is another sub area that basically follows the same principle. Like, I hope this one goes right. We start with a trick jump immediately. Nice. That one's always really, really scary because, like, even when you do make the jump, it looks like you're not going to at all. But it just kind of, like, works out in our favor sometimes. Thankfully.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
What I love about this run, though, is we're getting to see a lot of different tricks that we normally don't get to see, and a lot of really awesome movement here.
Right? That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, all Moons has all this stuff. But these sub-areas, like this sub-area has already been going on for like almost 40 seconds. And because of that, you're not going to see it in an 80% run. You're not going to see it in a World Peace run. You're not going to see it in any other category because the sub-area itself is just too slow. And that's just the truth of it. But that doesn't mean it can't be cool, right? And it can't, like, as a point of showcase, super cool stuff you can do in here. And then one more sub area. We just have this one. And this one's all on a cycle, so how good I do is essentially dictated by how well I do at the very start. Can we save this? Oh, not when he punches me in the face.
Oh. Oh no.
I got sabotaged. That's okay. Try that again. Yeah. So because of the cycles, like, we can't really make it to this platform fast. Like, we kind of have to wait for that cycles of, like, hurricanes to go. So it's not that I necessarily need to go super, super fast to make this sub area work. It's just that I need to be fast enough. But, you know, bonking tends to slow you down quite a lot. And falling off the stage tends to slow you down quite a lot. So, all right, that's all of our sub areas in Cascade. So we got 2 kingdoms down now. I guess 3 if you count Mushroom. On to Bowser's. Just like that. And you notice how quickly we're just like flipping through kingdoms one after the other, one after the other like this. It's because all we're doing is we're coming in here, we're getting like 1 or 2 really fast moons that are just sitting out in the open like this. And then we are this one. And then we're just finding all the sub areas and doing them. Bowser's Kingdom has a lot of cool sub areas too, actually. All right. Oops. I'm gonna try a triple jump. Nice. Yeah, and a lot of this platforming is like really straightforward, but it's difficult to do because, you know, there's a lot that goes into making a jump work. You kind of have to have a really good intuitive knowledge of how long you're supposed to hold a jump before you get to your maximum height and kind of utilize that to your most, like, to your advantage. Because if you kind of just do a triple jump, you might not necessarily get the height to get up that wall like I did unless you know, have good precise timing as well. Which is kind of what adds to the skill complexity of this game, I would say. This sub area is just super cute. Nothing too complicated about it. You just get to be a dry bones and go around the tower. I see some skelly emotes in the chat. Perfect for Halloween. Yeah, we love that.
Skellies are another good capture. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we stand dry bones in this house.
I don't know about that.
What?
Oh.
I mean, dry bones isn't as much of an issue in this game, but in like other games, specifically 3D World, they're like my least favorite enemy. They're so annoying. They just come back, Dangers. They just come back.
I mean, that's their whole gimmick.
I know. I don't like it.
Well, I mean, they come back in this game too, but we're too fast. We don't even deal with them. We're already gone by the time they come back. So this is a really cool sub area. I like this one a lot. And not just because we get to be a bird. I'm not that biased. Like, I'm pretty biased, but not that biased.
Nah, you're pretty biased.
Wow.
Wait, Danger's liking birds?
I know. What is this? Who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed?
It's a plot twist.
Whoa! Excuse me, bird. What are you trying to get at here? Yeah, you can do some like really cheeky movement with the bird capture. Lots of like shaking your controller to bounce around. It's pretty fun. All right. So now we have one sub area up in the arena. This sub area always makes me just like kind of chuckle a little bit. Because if you played this sub area casually, you might assume that this is like one of the longest sub areas in the game. It's not even close, actually. I'm pretty sure this one gets featured in like even Dark Side. It gets featured in a lot of categories because it's really quite short. The
I don't
main
think
challenge that they give you, like, have you ever done this casually?
No, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I don't think I've done this the intended way.
Yeah, I think maybe I did in my casual playthrough, but you'll notice that this, like, putting the guy on the switch right here opens up this, like, window, and if you know how to triple jump, you can just get up there. And then to get up the rest of the kingdom, oops, wait, there we go. We can just kind of do that, and then we're just up, and then it's over.
That was even in my casual playthrough. Spike challenged me to do that, and I got it.
Nice.
Yep, there you go. Don't need to do anything else. Like, it's just over. So I always think that's kind of funny. Like, doing stuff the casual way. Oh, this guy's gonna get me, isn't he? Yeah, he was kind of making me scared. I should have taken my jump a little bit longer than that. But yeah, just because it's a speedrun strat doesn't necessarily mean it's like the hardest thing to do sometimes. Like, the fastest thing doesn't necessarily mean the hardest, which I always kind of find interesting. Are you gonna... Ow. Excuse me, sir.
Oh,
That wasn't very nice of them.
No, it wasn't. That's okay. I stomped his head. I got him back.
My brain was like, Dangerous, why aren't you getting the purples on top of the door? What are you doing?
It's like, oh yeah, we're not doing all moons. What?
Yeah.
I like this sub-area too. Not just because birds, but because birds are cool, I guess. So it is because birds. I'm sorry. I lied to you all. What?
Oh!
Listen,
Dangerous,
birds,
don't scare us like that,
my
please.
God.
I was
That's
talking up these
insane.
birds so much, and then he just did that. Okay, it's fine. Everything's fine. Get me out of here. Okay, that's a sub area. Moving on. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
birds
that
are
scene.
usually pretty cool. All right. Now we can move on to something a little bit more graceful, a little bit more gentle. This sub area, this is actually the sub area that a lot of people use to grind coins in this game, because you just kind of grow this beanstalk. You get to the top of the kingdom, or to the top of the level, and then you don't even need to hold the direction. You can just hold neutral and use these rocket flowers to get all the way to the end and just get a bunch of coins. I think it's like 180 per pass or something like that. So this is, if you're looking for a way to get coins, you like have to buy outfits from your shop or something to complete 100% for the game. This is a pretty trustworthy place to go. Ooh, I got the 2 flame. Not that I need it, but I did get the 2
It
flame.
looks cool when you get it.
Yeah, it does. Not that I get to use it. I had to warp away, but...
What did you get there? I missed that.
So you know how I did that like spin throw rocket flower refresh in one of the Snow Kingdom sub areas?
Mm-hmm.
There's a rocket flower refresh that you can do where basically you just throw your cap a couple of frames before you collect a moon, and it'll have the same effect, but because the window is so tight, you barely ever see runners do that variation of it. So in that sub area, it doesn't really matter. You can kind of just do it for the swag points, but it is a way to do a rocket flower refresh, and I did manage to get it.
Oh, I meant to grab you before this kingdom, but if you want to, before the next kingdom, we could take another wellness break here.
Sure, that sounds great. There we go. Yeah, we're into Seaside now. Seaside has a couple of sub-areas that we have to do. This one, there's actually quite a few in Seaside that we didn't do at all. I think we did one sub-area, the Rocket, and that was it. There are quite a few in this kingdom, notwithstanding the Moon Rock ones as well. So we'll be here for a couple of minutes anyway. There's another bird sub-area in Seaside now that I'm thinking about it, actually. It's probably my favorite one in Seaside. Yeah, see you later, volleyball. We're not doing that. We are not worried about that at all. Speaking of Rocket Flower Refresh, we're going to go ahead and do another one. Oh, never mind. I'm going to capture this guy instead. I lied. We're just going to gushing our way over there. I thought it was going to be a cool idea, and then ruined it. That's okay.
A lot of this overworld movement is neat because, like, it's very different from what you'd see in any category, like all moons, darker side, dark side, or it's just different. Like this is not what you would see in your typical speedrun of this game.
Yeah, this is a lot more direct. Like, you know, the goal in mind here is just the sub areas, and there's a lot of like beelining it for the sub areas and like avoiding everything else. So it's very funny to like pass by one of those notes moons and just like passing directly by it without collecting all the notes, because that just, even in this category, just so happens to be kind of pointless and too slow. So yeah, the routing is very interesting for that reason.
Do you find yourself having to like fight your muscle memory at all?
A little bit. I think this one is like so far into like a different like pathway in through the game that it's easy to differentiate it. A lot of Odyssey categories, because they're so like connect the dots in nature. If you're unfamiliar with a run, you can usually have some sort of resource open. The Odyssey community does a really good job of creating like PowerPoints that you can literally flip the pages open to like keep you on track for categories if you don't know where you're going. So those are very handy resources. And it is what I'm doing right now, just in case I get lost. So I do have my PowerPoint open, and I can. It's like an open book quiz in a way. Like there's no rules against using tools like PowerPoints. So. But in some of the main categories, I definitely kind of get my paths crossed a little bit sometimes. It's very easy to do that. That's another sub-area, the one that we were just in. That's another sub-area that gets like a remix when we get to Dark Side later. Probably one of the hardest ones, in my opinion. So I'm definitely not looking forward to that. All right, this is the bird one. And if we can get this lineup just right, we're going to try. That looks good. We can leave the bird there. We can throw Cappy behind us. We can long jump into this moon, and then I'm going to shake my controller when I come back in. And it's going to be a capture warp to get the bird back, and we can basically skip having to run back through the level and save a couple seconds. Nice. Very well done. That was good.
Yeah, that was a good sub area.
It's one of my favorites. Again, not because birds, but because cool strats, all right? Cool strats come before birds, I swear.
Definitely no bird bias here.
Nope.
Yeah, no bias.
All right, and that's it. That's all the sub areas. So I guess when I get into this painting, I have to collect this moon here because it's just sitting right here. But when I get into this painting, we can take a break. So I'll count us down. 3, 2, 1, and pause.
Perfect. All right, everyone, we are going to take another wellness break here. So make sure you get up with us and stretch your leggies. We don't want to, have any, we want to get our blood flowing. Get some water if you need some, or a drink. And we'll be right back with more all sub areas. Welcome back, everyone, to the premiere of No Category Left Behind, the new GDQ hotfix show that showcases category extensions. I'm your host, Nuclear Reaction, and I'm here tonight with Fur and Dangers, running all sub areas of Super Mario Odyssey. Just a few reminders that GDQ Sum of Best Segments is now launched on YouTube. It's a highlight channel with regular videos like our main channel, but with small highlight reels for all our main events and hotfix. Coming up after this show around 10 p.m. Eastern is the Community Spotlight featuring Soul Axiom Rebooted, and a preview of Legally Cute with Cutie Brew SR running Songbird Symphony. We also have quite a few new shows starting up in the next couple weeks. Head over to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix and check our Twitter for more information on when they start. All right, we're gonna kick it back now to Dangers with all sub areas here. collecting
do
all
it.
the moons and all the sub areas of dangers whenever you want to count us down and get back to it.
Sure thing. I'll count us down right now. 3, 2, 1, go. And Fur, maybe you can remind us, the folks at home, maybe some new faces in the chat. What is all sub areas? What is a sub area?
What is all sub areas? Well, I'm glad you asked, Dangerous. All sub areas is the speedrun category of Super Mario Odyssey, where you go around and clear every single sub area in the game. And you might be wondering, what defines a sub area? Well, hopefully I get this right, but it's basically any of the like sub rooms that you'll go into in the game, where if you return to them later, Cappy will say like, hey, there's still something to collect here. Like, that's the official way the speedrun defines what is a sub area.
That's right. More or
Cool, I
less
got
that. There are a couple of other like sub rooms that you might go into that like require a door or something, but because they don't have that distinction, they don't be considered a sub area. Just by the skin of my teeth on this one. So this wave's a poison room. Very, very tricky one. I'm on a cycle as soon as the room starts, and usually you're supposed to use a frog to like hop over the waves, but you can kind of just do it like that instead. And that was our visit to Lake Kingdom. We're all done. We did all the sub areas in Lake Kingdom in the first visit. That one just so happens to be behind a moon pipe, so we had to come here, open the moon rock, and now we get to leave just like that. On to sand. Sand has a lot of sub areas.
That frog room. Very difficult casually, though.
Yes. I almost think it's easier to do without a frog. Even as a casual, like if you just take your time and you are being Mario instead of the frog, you might have an easier time with it as a casual. So anybody who's watching, trying to pick up tips, taking notes at home, just try with Mario and see what happens. So Sand Kingdom is the kingdom with the most moons in it, period. I think Mushroom might have more, but that's also because Toadette is a thing. So if you're counting just like raw moons to collect, this kingdom has the most by far, and by that reason, it also has a lot of sub areas. So this one in particular is one of my favorites. Like, we do not do anything close to what you're supposed to do in this sub area. First thing I'm going to do is another capture warp to basically prevent Mario from, facing imminent death. And then the whole point of this room, the whole reason that you get a Moai capture at the beginning is so that he can put his sunglasses on and he can see all the invisible platforms in this room. But I just so happen to not know where all of them are, is what I was going to say, definitely. I must have overshot that one just a tiny little bit. But the idea here is that if you put the sunglasses on, you can see all the platforms. But, if you've done this room enough times, you kind of get a feel for where they all are. So I'm, trying to use the camera to position myself where I think they are. There we go. So yeah, basically just doing that room completely blind.
There's a lot of definitely just like blank spaces that I just somehow know.
And I'm trying to visualize that in a 3D space, basically, trying to draw those platforms in my mind, and so I just barely overshot it for that reason. But this is also a really interesting sub area. So you can see that the Scarecrow is there. This is one of those sub areas that wants you to do it without the help of Cappy, but you can actually make that jump rather easily by doing a long jump and then some cap throws.
I did this with a cap also on my casual playthrough.
Nukes was gaming. You knew the lore. You knew the strats.
Yeah, there was a couple of these, especially these sub areas, where Spike would come in and challenge me. Tell me, all right, this exists. Can you do it?
And you're like, heck yeah, I can.
Yeah, I'm a gamer.
Yeah.
All right. This is also a really fun sub area. There's nothing you can really do to cheat this one. You just kind of have to do it the normal way. but that doesn't make it any less scary. Like, sometimes the game actually does throw you a genuine challenge. Like, I tend to think that most Mario games are pretty easy. Like, they're definitely on the easier side for video games. But then I also kind of, like, check myself a little bit. I'm like, I've been playing Mario games forever, so I think Mario's easy. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all the challenges in a Mario game are going to be easy for everybody. I can do this. Here's another one of those rocket flower refreshes we were talking about. And that just preserves those rocket flowers so that I can then use them to dash to the other moon as well. Just a
Literally numing.
cheeky little something there.
Yeah.
And then we just have actually only one more sub area. We did a lot of the sand sub areas early on, so we're gonna take our Jaxie friend. And there's a moon pipe waiting for us out in the distance over here with some burps. Okay, yeah, sure, I'll take some damage. I guess I deserve that.
Dangers.
Nothing too special about this sub-area. Everything's on a cycle, but the cycles are dependent on the camera, and that's not something we've actually talked about very much in the game so far, or in this run anyway. Can you maybe explain that a little bit, Fur?
Those cycles?
Yeah, well, the platforms are on a cycle, and I guess also that moon is important to put on the camera. Maybe just like,
Oh, with
why
like
that is.
camera-related cycles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like a lot of games, Odyssey tries to, save resources by not, loading things that aren't on camera because, that's just going to make the game run slower, get laggy and stuff like that. So a lot of like cycles in this game, like the moving platforms in the sub area as an example, only move when they're visible. So, I don't know. I don't think it really matters too much in that sub area in particular, but there's others where taking advantage of like the fact that, oh, if you look away, the cycle is not going to progress. It can be pretty useful.
Exactly, yeah. And also the moons. Like, because that sub-area has that, like, pseudo 2D, 3D thing going on, if you don't put the moons on camera as you're, like, zooming towards them, sometimes you can just blast right past them, and that's because the game hasn't registered that the moon exists yet. So, you have to you kind of have to be weary and, like, turn your camera ahead of time to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, the moon has to be on screen for a few moments before it's considered solid for some reason.
Exactly. All right. Remember when at the beginning of this run I said like Metro Kingdom is one that has an outfit room that we need to get into? Well, oops. We don't need to buy the outfit with purple coins because instead we can do, we can do something. Hold on. There we go. We can do this. We can just roll right into the building and enter that sub area from the back.
That was not where I was expecting that we'd be doing a clip.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can just do that. This is one of the few outfit rooms that can be manipulated in this way. Like, you can get out of bounds and just enter the loading zone from the back, and it just counts. And obviously saves a lot of time over, like, having to go on a treasure hunt for some purple coins and, scavenge them all and pick them up and then go to the shop and buy the outfit. So we're going to take advantage of it if we can. All right. Now the next sub area we're going to do is a bit of a blast to the past. We've already done some blast to the past sub areas, but this one in particular is real blast to the past. We're talking 35 years. Gonna try and get a sub 5 here. So this is actually quite different. Like Super Mario Brothers, the mechanics of the way that like 2D Mario works now versus how he worked 35 years ago, he's a lot floatier now. So it's like, as somebody who has speedrun Super Mario Brothers before, and then like switching to this game, oops, and like it can be very jarring because the controls are not quite the same.
Did you speedrun Super Mario Brothers?
I did, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Was it last year? It was either last year or the year before. I took it upon myself to see if I could get a sub 5, and I made it happen. We got a 459.9 something. It was like just under. But we did it. Yeah, it happened. We are approaching another sub-area that kind of breaks the rules of sub-areas. Usually, like I said, sub-areas have 2 moons in them. This one upcoming here actually has 3, and one of them is only unlocked when you open up the moon rock. So it's important that we left this one for later because the 3rd moon is hiding here in this guy's hat. But he won't be here until we open up the moon rock, so we had to make sure that we save the sub-area for later. And then we're going to exit this sub-area through the pipe over here. Metro has a lot of sub-areas, as it turns out. We're going to exit through the pipe because the pipe leads us right to this rocket, which is another sub-area.
Which kingdom has the most sub areas? Metro?
I'd be willing to bet that it's probably Metro, yeah. Do you have any idea for?
I feel like it has to be Metro, but I don't know.
Just a little bit of swinging movement, some kind of like fancy movement to just get around those cycles a little bit faster. And yeah, these checkpoints are really coming in handy. There's going to be a lot of warping in this kingdom because it tends to be a lot faster to kind of ground yourself on a checkpoint than it does to leave the sub-area and try and traverse your way back to the mainland from wherever it puts you. So
Yeah, it looks like it puts you way out there in some cases.
this sub-area definitely not doing anything close to what it wants you to do, which is, you know, kind of the story if you have been following along at home. There's a lot of like, oh, you see that platforming challenge over there? I mean, it's cool. That's it. It's cool. We don't care, but it's cool. But we don't care. We're just like, we're actually gonna do our own thing. Cheeky little vault there. I love vault strats. Whenever you can throw a vault in something, it always makes you feel really like good about your movement. All right. This sub-area is very, very seldom seen. Like, the only category I think that ever bothers to do this sub-area is all moons, because it's just kind of out of the way. It's quite slow. Not one of my favorites, if I'm being honest. But, you know.
You have to deal with this hammer brother again.
Yeah, you got to capture the hammer brother. You got to break this block. And you got to bring him up here. I'm going to kind of pull the Yoshi strat and just kind of drop him off the edge. And then make my way through. So not too bad, actually. You made that look pretty clean. And there's just one more Metro sub-area. You got to go this way. And this one is very simple, but probably one of my favorites. You just get to ride a scooter. And these are like baby timer challenges within the sub-area, and you got to do like 3 of them and just make sure you don't crash into anything. Very simple. This is another one of the sub-areas that's going to get remixed later on in Dark Side. The challenge there being that you get, I think you just get Cappy taken away from you, so you can't, and there's no scooters, so you just have to roll. Something like that. It might just be the scooter, I can't remember. But that's the challenge being that you can't use a scooter, you have to roll, which for a lot of folks, like when I did this game casually, I didn't even know that you could roll. It wasn't even part of the move kit. I didn't check the action guide like you're supposed to, like a good gamer.
Oh no.
So I had to figure out a different way to finish this challenge, and it was very difficult in Dark Side.
I have to say, I had trouble with that challenge with rolling. I don't know how you would have done that without rolling.
Yeah, I think my
keep on
strategy.
long jumping.
Yeah, my strategy was to like long jumping by itself wasn't enough, like because long jumps slow you down. So the strat was to like do a long jump and then continue doing triple jumps the whole way around, to kind of conserve your speed. That was about the only way that it worked. All right. Now we're in Wooded. Wooded has some cool sub areas as well. First thing we're gonna do is open up that moon rock. Just hiding in the trees back here.
Yeah, reminder for anyone joining right now. This is the premiere of No Category Left Behind, a new hotfix show that showcases category extensions runs. And today we have Dangers on doing all sub-areas of Mario Odyssey. Basically, the goal is to collect all the moons in these fun little sub-areas that we don't normally get to see in a lot of speedruns for this game.
Yeah. I'd say that some of them make pretty prominent appearances. Like this one is a pretty common one if you watch like darker side speedrunners, because it is pretty fast. But yeah, a lot of the sub areas, they just like, in terms of the time it takes to finish them completely. Did I get the clip? Hold on a second.
Ooh.
Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. I'm just making stuff up. It looked like I did. This sub area is really weird. Sometimes you can crash the bonsai bill in just the way that like Mario slips through the wall. Very strange stuff. But yeah. Yeah, there's just a lot of sub-areas in this game that are just a little bit too time-intensive, and so you don't typically see them in speedruns unless they're like an all-moons run. So this is kind of a cool showcase. This is kind of a cool category to showcase all the sub-areas, because a lot of them are, you know, nice little puzzles and nice challenges to do. So lots of cool stuff to see. Those two sub-areas that we just did, actually, this one and the one with the, it's called Breakdown Road with the bullet bills, both of those sub-areas are also going to be getting a remix in the Dark Side Kingdom as well. The challenge of this one being, both of them actually, that you don't get your cap. So you can imagine how much harder they're going to be when we get to Dark Side later, because I won't get to use Cappy. Now, remember in Snow Kingdom when we had that, like, beanstalk moon? This is the same idea. We have to grab a beanstalk seed. We have to bring it all the way up this platforming stage. And then we have to plant it in the pot that's at the top. And if we manage to go through the sub-area without having collected both the moons and we fall off, then we have to go and get the seed again. So I really, really, like, the sub-area is not difficult, but I really hope that that doesn't happen, because we'll be in a world of hurt if that's the case. Blue platforms start moving when you stand on them, and we just kind of gotta wait, so we can maybe get some dance emotes in the chat for the SMW remix.
Now might be another good time to remind everyone in chat that if you're enjoying this run, please, please, please make sure to drop a follow for twitch.tv/dangers. Here, Dangers does a lot of Mario Odyssey, but also has been doing a lot of Mario Galaxy. I forget which Galaxy you run. First one?
The first one, mostly.
First
yeah.
one. lot of great gaming, as you can see here. Also, make sure to follow twitch.tv/fur_.
Hey, that's
our
me.
Commentator here today. Fur does also some Odyssey. If you want to catch some all moons runs over there, some damageless runs.
I do like me some damageless.
That type of challenge. Two really, really, really great gamers, and I really suggest giving both of them a follow.
Oh no!
Did you see that, Fur?
I did.
Where'd the sheep go?
They said bye-bye. So, the challenge of this sub-area is to, like, take the sheep on a pathway. And, you know, you're supposed to go around the whole stage and, like, herd them into the corner or whatever. We don't have time for that, so we can kind of just do a series of, like, weird jumps to get the sheep to eventually go in. Please go. Please, hello? There we go. So you can just get them to go in the pen by, like, knocking them up over the top. Sometimes they don't like to cooperate, as it turns out. But kind of a neat little trick. The positioning on it is very precise, and that's why it sometimes doesn't function the way that it's supposed to. Am I going to kill the sheep?
You went into that pipe, and I almost freaked out. Dangers! You didn't even grab the moon!
Where are you going? You're not done yet! It's okay, we'll be back for that one. Alright, Fluffy boy, come on now. There we go. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, sheep, for cooperating. I'm very proud. That sub-area is fun. Smile. But it does have a cool strat. It's just that this strat just doesn't work all the time. All right. I think this is our last sub-area in Wooded. Yeah. This sub-area is really cool if you do it really fast, too. So the idea of this one, the main challenge is collect 5 moon shards. And the hidden one is in a, like, breakable nut right here. The thing that makes this one the most impressive is just, like, you know, if you go into this room casually, you have no idea where you're going or what anything is or what it even looks like. So, you know, if you're a speedrunner, you kind of gain this intuitive sense of like where you're supposed to go and things like that. So it makes it a little bit more impressive. Okay. Now we just need to get to the painting so that we can get out of Wooded Kingdom and into Luncheon. And Luncheon is our last stop on the painting trail. It just so happens that the best way to the painting is through this series of challenges here. So we're going to go ahead and get these moons here.
That's for those of you who have missed it. Dangerous is collecting extra moons here because he's going to need enough moons to reach Dark Side because there's more sub-areas over there.
Yes. Yeah, our run will end in Dark Side, and we just have to get there. And that requires 250 moons. So I think all of the story moons and all of the sub-area moons put together equates for like the majority of that, probably like 220 or 230 or so. So the rest we just need to pick up from. You know, a lot of the ones that we get are just hanging out in the middle of the air, like very, very fast, like negligibly fast. All right, Luncheon has some of the funnest sub-areas. I feel like I've said that about every kingdom. Like, maybe forgive me for having said it in every kingdom, but it's just, this game has a lot of fun sub-areas, period. Luncheon has some of, like, the most technically precise ones, including this one. Oh, yeah, I just missed that one. That's okay. Let's try that again. So the goal here is I think you can wait. You can kind of, like, wait for this, like, moving platform to go through the stage, but we just use the capture. And do this. So we're, like, trying to preserve that Potaboo as best as we can, so that we can recapture it right here. And progress through the kingdom, or progress through the sub-area just like that. Okay.
Do you have a favorite sub-area?
Favorite sub-area?
I think that's a lofty question.
It is a lofty question.
Or maybe like a top few that you really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
This goes for you too, Fur.
Yeah,
There's definitely a handful that I really enjoy doing. I would say the one in Lake Kingdom that we did like right at the beginning with like the grabbing the ledges and the fuzzies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That one's up there. There's one in Luncheon Kingdom coming up pretty soon that I really enjoy as well. I think it really just like it kind of changes flavors by the season. Like my enjoyment of certain kingdoms kind of or certain sub areas depends on like what strat I'm currently working on, and if the strat is really cool, then I tend to enjoy that one a lot. But yeah, what about you, Fur?
I like the one in Snow Kingdom that Danger's cheated on. And the reason I like it is because when you do the bullet bill strat at the end of the arena, somebody who hasn't seen the stream before will think I messed up and get scared like, oh no, you're gonna die! But then you just don't.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. That's a good one too. And I like it for the Flower Road skip as well. That's always a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's even better if you're on a little oh no.
I think it's a real impressive thing to watch as a viewer, especially if you've never seen that before.
Yes. Yeah. This sub-area is pretty notorious for being quite difficult. It's one of the sub-areas that takes Cappy away from you, so we have to do all of this platforming without the help of Cappy in any way. So we have to be very, very, very careful of our movements because we don't have really like a way to back ourselves up on this one if we're all on our own. So I was actually quite clean for that sub-area. It's not usually how that goes. I can't believe I'm being sold out in the Twitch chat right now. Make sure you also follow, commentator for _ and host of the show, Nuclear Reaction.
Hey.
All right, this is the sub area I was talking about, by the way, probably one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, this is a really good one.
Oh.
So the idea of this sub area that you don't even get to see at all is there's like a very slow moving blue platform, and that blue platform kind of like takes you on a bus ride through this stage. We can just skip the entire thing by doing that. And very, very fast, very satisfying when you're able to pull off all the movement properly. And we kind of make a joke of it. And much, much faster to do it that way than to wait for the platform.
That was a really nifty room.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Yeah, I like the amount of fun that I have doing a sub area is almost directly correlated to like how much I break it. If I had to guess. All
that
right.
makes sense.
So yeah, we have 227 moons now. We're almost at 250, and our painting chain is complete. So now we are at the point where we just need to kind of go to the kingdoms that didn't have a link in the painting chain and do the sub areas that are there, and then move on to the next one until we're all finished. So we have to do Moon Kingdom, and then Ruined Kingdom, and then Lost Kingdom, and then Cloud Kingdom, and then Cap Kingdom, and then we'll have 250, and then we'll get to go to Dark Side. So we're almost we're approaching the end here. We're very, very close. First thing
I think a lot of those kingdoms don't have a lot of sub areas, do they?
No, not really. I think the most is Cap Kingdom. I think Cap has like 4.
The most at 4, yeah.
Yeah, and each sub area has 2 moons in it. Like Moon Kingdom has 2, Ruined has 2, I think. Cloud has 1. Lost has 1, 2. Lost has 2. So yeah, not very many sub areas, and then Dark Side I think has 6. So yeah, we're only like a dozen sub areas away from the end. All right. So this sub area is notoriously tricky, mostly because like they try to force this like circular gravity Super Mario Galaxy-esque thing on you, and it can be a little bit disorienting sometimes. Let's see if I can make this jump. Nice.
Yeah, something I want to note about like going through these sections in 2D where you're going around in a circle, it's really weird because like you can hold left and just keep spinning around a circle on one of the circles. But if you like hold left and then go on to like the opposite of where you started standing and then hold left again, you'll go the other way.
Yeah.
It's a bit disorienting sometimes, but you get used to it.
Right. One more sub area in Moon Kingdom. This is actually one of my favorites as well, as long as it goes right. I'm gonna do a quick jump off here, dive, boost, triple jump. This is all on a cycle, by the way.
Dangers, you're going left.
Oops. I said right, didn't I? Frick. Uh-oh.
Speaking of, we were talking about cycles earlier and how they were usually dependent on whether or not you're looking at them. Isn't this sub-area one of the few examples where that's not true?
Yeah, this is just like on a cycle and it just keeps going as the room just kind of goes. Like when you enter it, it just goes. That was great. Yeah, that room went perfectly. Using moon gravity to my advantage to like vector across. We were talking about vectors again. Vectors are very important in that room. this one, I think. Ruined Kingdom.
Oh, now we get to see that sub area you both were talking about earlier.
That's right. We're gonna start with the cool one, and then we're gonna do the lame one after.
Yeah, we get to do the well-designed sub area, and then the sub area that's just a port from their character capture beta testing.
Yep. Gotta open up the moon rock first. Moon rock is very important in like literally every kingdom. Oh, I don't. I was doing the movement as if I needed to get that moon on that archway. I don't need to do that. We just need the sub areas. That's why it's called all sub areas. Now we can go here in this little rocket. Now this sub area is like a mix of 2D and 3D. You use 3D Mario to like stop the P switch so that the platform in 2D is accessible for you to use. We kind of break this one a little bit, and you're going to see why in just a second. We do it mostly normally. Oh, I was going to say the platforms don't need to be perfect, but maybe they should be because I'm not making the jumps. There we go. That was probably like one of the worst places to stop it, but that's okay. Yeah, these platforms don't need to be exactly in the alignment that the game wants, but it certainly does help in most cases.
And you also get some bonus coins, too, if you put them in the right spot.
That's true. I kind of avoided them all, but that's okay.
I mean, we don't need them in the run, but it's cute.
Yeah. This one is especially funny because you can just stop the middle one, and the other ones just keep moving and are, like, transparent, so we can just jump through them. And then we're at the end, and you might be thinking, well, that's the main moon, like, where's the secret moon? Well, there's actually a puzzle to do the secret moon as well, but that puzzle is kind of, like, slow, so I'm just going to do this. Just going to jump around the side. And, oh, here it is. Here we are.
Nice.
Oh.
Just like that.
That's such a cute strat.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah. Like I said, breaking sub-areas is my favorite part of sub-areas, and so that one is one of my favorites as well. Now we get to do the sub-area that, why does it even exist? Why does it even exist?
I don't know. Like we were saying earlier, it's probably just the beta test room for the Charge and Chuck, and they're just like, oh yeah, we can put this in the game. But yeah, the challenge here is to pull the lever, freeing the Charge and Chuck. And then you capture the Charge and Chuck, and go through roughly no obstacles, and just break that, and you finished. You're done.
Yep. That's
Wasn't
the main
that
moon.
Wow.
difficult and engaging?
That was a challenge, all right. Now
Wait,
this one
there's
is
more?
actually... There is more. We need the secret moon. And the secret moon only activates when you spend some time in there. Yeah, so that zombie, we need to stomp on his head. The zombie doesn't appear until we run through the coins a little bit.
Oh.
That's
I
the-
always thought you had to just get so many zombies for that zombie to appear.
Yep. Yeah,
Huh.
no, I guess the zombie doesn't like that you're stealing his cursed treasure or something like that. That's basically the gist of it. All right. Lost Kingdom time. Lost Kingdom's great. The sub-areas, well, there's something. That's for sure. We get to deal with Klepto, which is interesting because we don't ever really deal with Klepto in speedruns at all. So that's, you know, you get to finally meet Klepto, and we actually get to like give Cappy up to Klepto. Like Klepto gets what he wants. So you know all that teasing I was doing at the beginning of the run, where like Klepto's a dumb bird, doesn't even know that they're holding a hat, silly bird, smelly bird. Yeah, no, they actually win this time. But don't worry, we'll get
Get him back for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that gonna work? No, that's not gonna work. Okay, I need to reevaluate my jumping strategy here. This is some movement that you don't really get to see anywhere else. Just to get to this moon pipe right here. And there he is. Hello, Klepto. Yeah, you know what? I deserve that. I deserve that for calling him a stinky bird. And so you see that lever there. We need Cappy because Cappy needs to pull the lever. That's basically the challenge of this sub area is like get Cappy back so that we can pull a lever. Now, if we're fast enough, we can actually lower this platform, which is the one that Klepto wants to sit on. If we do it fast enough, we don't have to like hit the switch in advance, and we can just immediately rush over there, get Cappy back right away. But we're actually not going to pull the lever at all. We're going to come back here, and we're going to do a boost through this wall, and the nose of the Podoboo is just big enough that I can grab the moon from out of bounds, basically. So we didn't even need Cappy at all, but I guess we kind of did, because we needed to capture the Podoboo, so.
Yeah, that's another fun one.
That's interesting that that's faster than doing the lever, but I guess yeah, you have to get that other moon, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and a lot of actionable things come with like mini cutscenes as well. So like when you pull the lever, like the game wants to stop for a second and be like, "Hey, the door is opening." And you're like, "Oh, okay, great. Thank you for, stopping me to do that." So This one actually is like really frustrating because it's very easy to accidentally kill that piranha plant, and if you do, he doesn't respawn. So you would have to like start the sub area completely over to get that moon. And then this whole sub area is kind of based around those wigglers and like stretching across these little stumps. But obviously with some good platforming, you can just avoid that completely.
Nice.
And there we go. That's Lost Kingdom. Just 2 sub areas in there. Now we go to Cloud, where there's literally just 1 sub area.
Count is getting really close.
Yep. 241. We're only 9 moons away now. So that's what? 4 more sub areas and then like an extra moon on top of that? I feel like there's more sub areas than that. Oh, no, okay. No, we're at 239, right? I keep messing up my numbers. So yeah, Cloud Kingdom is literally just this boss platform. There's like a couple things off to the side, but in order to get the sub area, we need to open up the moon rock. So we're going to do that. Now, people who are really keen with this game might be thinking, hey, I think that there's like... Isn't there like... oh, okay. Mario, are you okay? There we go. Isn't that pipe in the middle like a picture match? Like, that's a sub-area type thing that has 2 moons in it. Why doesn't that count? And I don't know, it's one of those like weird examples that like I couldn't really tell you why, but Cappy doesn't give you that text. It's like, hey, we're missing something from here. It's like more of a mini game than it is a sub area, I guess. And so by that metric, it doesn't count. So we don't have to do that one, but we do have to do this one. This one's probably one of my favorite sub areas as well. I keep saying that. It's like a broken record. It's especially satisfying if you do it damageless. I can imagine how much of a challenge this was when you were doing damageless fur.
Yeah, it was definitely a hard one to do, that's for sure.
All right. Because this is a Hammer Brother specifically. Oh, we didn't take damage. Let's go. Are you proud of me, Fur? I'll take that as a yes. Excellent. Let's get out of here. Just Cap Kingdom left. Fur says in the chat that he's proud of me. Are we? Is everybody okay? Hello, is everybody still here?
It's like breaking on and off. So
Yeah, I was losing the feed there for a second. I'm back in now.
I think Discord's having some.
yeah, I think it's
issues.
Discord.
Yes.
Yeah. It do be like that sometimes, but we're back. We're back. We're ready for action.
I
And we get to go
completely
to-
missed the Cloud Kingdom sub area, so
I got
I'll
little bits
imagine
and
it was
pieces
great.
of it.
I did the last part damageless, so
I'm proud of you, Dangers.
yeah, thank you. And now we're in Cap Kingdom, and there are 4 sub areas here, and we're just gonna want to grab 1 extra moon as well because we are only 9. Oh, I stomped on the Cappy dude. My bad. Yeah, we have 9 moons left to get before we can go to dark side. So we'll do the 4 sub areas, and then we'll get 1 extra that's just kind of vibing, and then we'll be good to go to dark side. And oh boy, is that where the real fun begins. Because I've been kind of pointing out these challenges along the way. I was pointing out all of these like remix sub areas. We're finally going to get to see them. The main challenge of them being that, you know, either Cappy is stolen or you have to use Yoshi as your capture and like collect fruit in the sub area. And Yoshi is notoriously not very good at this game. Poor thing.
Definitely say that's the hub of the difficult sub areas in this game.
Definitely, yeah. Some people say that like the Breakdown Road moon, the secret one, is maybe like one of the hardest moons in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm inclined to believe them.
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
What would you two say is the most difficult moon in the game?
Difficult? I guess it depends. Like, are you speedrunning? Because if
Let's
you're
say for a
speedrunning,
speed run, yeah.
yeah, for the sake of speedrunning,
Speed run
like
context.
I would say the volleyball is probably the one that gives me the most headache.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Fur?
I think I agree with Dangers here. Volleyball is definitely like, when it's in a run, it's a moon that you can mess up, and if you do mess it up, it has the
Did
biggest
anybody else here
consequences.
turn into a robot just now? Perhaps just me. No worries. I'm going to just keep on gaming. Just going to keep on keeping on. The sub area has a couple of cool little skips here. We don't need those purple coins, so we can kind of just take the wire. Yeah, Discord, unfortunately, experiencing some technical difficulties on the Discord side. But it's not going to stop the run. We're going to keep this going. Only a couple more sub areas, and then we'll be in dark side, so hang tight. And then we just go through here, and there's just one more sub area. Yeah, we got the hosts. We got the hosts in the text chat for the moment being, and that's okay. I'm just gonna keep on collecting shards. I think you guys in the chat can still hear me, right? Put a 1 in the chat if things are still okay on the end of you guys in the chat. That's the most important thing. Okay, great. So it looks like it's still going okay for the stream. We'll bring the host back when they get let out of when they get let out of Discord jail. My webcam is frozen, but you can hear me. Here, I'm gonna. All right, we're gonna try that. Hello.
Dangers.
Hi.
Dangers!
I'm alive.
Oh. It was
Oh.
scary in there.
Just in time for Darkside.
Oh.
All right, so if you guys remember, at the very beginning of the run, I said I was going to go for a trick that's probably like the riskiest trick that I've ever tried to do at a GDQ. It's happening. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I swear, Discord, if you heck me up from seeing this.
Okay, there we go. Nice. So, Darkside is a boss rush. Maybe Fur, you can explain a little bit about what Darkside is supposed to be about.
Yeah, Darkside is supposed to be like the post-game kingdom that works as a boss rush for all of the bunny boss fights throughout the game. And some of them have minor changes along with the fact that it's low gravity. And the skip Dangers just did there lets you skip, I think, 3 out of 4 of the boss fights, if you do it right.
Yeah, we still have to do Harriet, and the reason is we could do the jump, we could do the same skip, but Harriet's, like when you get to the door, Harriet's fight will still just trigger anyways, so we have to do Harriet. There's no way around that. But the other 3 bosses can be skipped by jumping in exactly the way that I just did. So I have to do it 2 more times. Now, the reason that this is probably the riskiest trick I've ever done in a GDQ is because if I miss one, it is a boss rush. You're supposed to do this on all 1 life. So if you miss one, if you die to any of the bosses, you go back to the beginning of the boss rush. So I probably won't give this any more tries than like 1 or 2, because otherwise we'd be here all day. So we're just kind of hope that it goes right the first time.
Send all the good vibes, chat.
Good vibes.
Okay. And the reason this works is because we're like bypassing the loading zone for the boss fights by doing a very precise pathway around them. Oh, did I mention I need Joy-Cons for this part as well? That makes it even worse.
Oh yeah, because you have to be able to do the down throw Dangers is doing in the middle of this, where he throws Cappy downwards towards the poison like that. That you can only do with Joy-Cons, because for whatever reason, the Pro Controller doesn't have the same motion controller capabilities as the Joy-Con for, like, that specific input.
Let's go. First try.
Wow. I've never seen that before, actually. That was really cool.
Yeah. Saves about 1.5 minutes from having to do all the boss fights, so obviously very, very valuable trick for speedrunners, but extremely risky, because if you miss even one, then you lose, like, literal minutes of time. So that was really cool to be able to pull off at GDQ.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, get those claps in chat. That was super, super awesome.
Yeah, and the reason it's never really been showcased before is because Darkside is kind of like a... it's not anybody's favorite category, per se. Like, it doesn't really get a whole lot of love. So this is kind of the first category that's been showcased, or the first category at GDQ that's showcased the dark side of the moon. So you're finally getting to see it live.
I do have to ask, in honor of the premiere of No Category Left Behind, what are both of your favorite category extensions in Mario Odyssey? Because there are quite a few.
There sure are, yeah. I'm obviously a pretty big advocate for Taka 2%. I've done it a couple times at GDQ, and I really like that it's just kind of a built-in randomizer version of the game. It kind of challenges you every time you play. This is another one of my favorites. There are also like variations of Dark and Darker Side where you're allowed to like buy duplicate moons from the shops. So that just is like kind of a more pocket-sized version of each of those runs. So those are also kind of nice. What about you, Fur?
Well, I guess damageless I have to say, because I do a lot of damageless stuff. There is another one, the one where you get the boxers. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of it, but that's a fun one.
You can call it Boxer %.
Yeah,
I don't
boxers
know.
percent. That's my favorite category. That's the GDQ safe name we'll go with.
Yeah, basically you just try and take Mario's shirt off as fast as possible. And it was like one
Yeah.
of the very first meme categories. All right, so now that we've accomplished the boss rush, we get to be a king for the rest of the run. And we just go around and we do all of the sub areas. And like I said, they are all going to be remixes of sub areas we've already seen along the way, with the challenge of like not having Cappy or having to be Yoshi. This being an example of one where you don't have Cappy. And there's a certain strategy I'm going to do here. I'm going to try and get back up on this ledge. I had to do the ground pound to activate the bullet bill that's underneath me, the bonsai bill, I should say. And then with some careful platforming, I can just traverse the top. A lot of people, when they do this sub area, they obviously take the path on the bottom because that's what the game wants you to do. And that can be very, very treacherous to perform. So I kind of just go along the along the top like that. It's harder than it looks. And it's also faster. So.
I'd say that's definitely the most difficult sub area, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, it's certainly up there. Certainly. All right, this sub area is a remix of the floating and sinking platforms. You got to be Yoshi and eat all the fruits, so we just got to go on a bit of a fruit eating adventure and hope that Yoshi doesn't make any bad moves. The good thing about Yoshi in this level is that he can eat piranha plants, which is kind of helpful sometimes. He can also stomp on them. Actually, really clean. That was really well done. That sub area does not usually go that cleanly. Any of the ones with Yoshi in them, not usually that clean.
Yeah, Yoshi opens up a lot of room for disaster.
Yeah. Yoshi's a bit of a disaster artist, TBH. This one is quite fun as well. This one's another Yoshi one. So this is the Moon Shards Under Siege sub-area from Metro Kingdom. But this time, instead of shooting anything, capturing anything, you're just being Yoshi. And you have to go and collect all these fruits. This one's okay. This one's probably like the easiest sub-area in Dark Side. Can be a little bit frustrating if you fall off buildings or anything, though.
I've always loved that little like optimization where you jump under the bridge.
Yeah, me too. I think I learned that from you, to be honest.
Maybe. I think it's something I just sort of started doing on my own. Can't remember for sure, though, because it was forever ago.
Now, I've noticed, and I think you mentioned this earlier, you use Yoshi's tongue to run faster?
Yeah,
How
if you
does that work?
If you double attack, like if you stick Yoshi's tongue out and then you press the attack button again, he'll like, if there's a floor close by, then he'll just stick his tongue to the floor. And then you can kind of hold it there so that he runs faster. Just like a little known trait of Yoshi that, you know, you don't really think about, you don't really know until somebody points it out. Oh, that was not good movement, I guess. Here is the Piranha Plant Poison sub-area, and this one, the challenge being that you don't have Cappy. Cappy makes a lot of this platforming a lot easier, so I'm just going to take my time on that one. I think we just have, is it 2 more? I think it's just 2 more. Come back over here. Scarecrow back here. This is going to be a remix of the scooter sub-area that we were talking about in Metro Kingdom. You don't have Cappy, and you just have to roll. And you just have to make sure that you just keep rolling, because if you stop rolling, you're not going to make it in time before these platforms disappear. Honestly, this kind of sub-area is like a speedrunner's paradise. It's just like, can you go fast? The game is literally challenging you to go fast, and that's fantastic.
Look, even with as fast as Dangers is, it still started flashing there at the end.
Yep, exactly. This one too. This one is pretty close, pretty tight timing. Already flashing as I grab that moon.
Dangers originally did this without rolling.
Yeah, I don't know how. Don't ask me how. I have no idea. Some sort of magic. Gamer energy. All right, and we are approaching our final sub area. So the timer stops in this category when you notice how when we collect a moon, it like tinks onto the counter in the top left corner. When that moon appears on the counter, that's when time is going to stop. Remember, there are 2 moons in every sub area, so we're going to get the first one about halfway through, and then when we eat the last fruit, it's going to give us that moon, and then it's going to tick, and then the run is going to be over. This is one of the most frustrating sub areas, I think, when you're first learning how to do all moons speed runs, and I'm falling off a cliff.
You'll be fine.
Yoshi's used to it.
Yeah.
Okay, we did it. Yeah, we're fine. Okay, and the hard part is mostly done. Sometimes this wall can be a little bit tricky because Yoshi doesn't like to grab it. And then last fruits. And we're going to get our last moon. And time is going to stop now. There we go. That's all sub areas.
GG.
Very
GGs.
climactic finish. Staying here at the end like
Grabbing
this.
that last Yoshi move.
We get to be Yoshi at the end.
That
And
was
all the lava
some
rises up
top
on it.
tier gaming. Chat, please give it up for Dangers with this awesome run. I can't even like. I'm just in awe right now with all the platforming and just great movement that went on during that run. And also, don't forget about Fur underscore giving us great commentary throughout the run as well.
Heck yeah.
Both certified gamers here, and also just giving a great premiere for my new hotfix show here on GDQ. No category left behind. I couldn't think of a better way to premiere the show, so thank you both for being on here. Like to give you both a moment to please shout out yourselves. Let us know what you've got going on your streams so that the folks here in chat can drop you a follow.
Yeah, Fur, why don't you go first?
Okay. I do speedruns. Recently, though, I have been focusing on a damageless challenge in Super Mario 3D World, where I'm trying to get all 380 green stars in that game without taking any bit of damage. So that means if I take any damage at all, I have to reset the entire thing and start over. Right now, it's like looking like if I finish a run, it'll take around 5 hours, and we've been grinding that out the last few weeks, and any day now it could happen. Any day now. But yeah, other than that, I'll do some like speedrun stuff on stream. Like I'll do all moons of Odyssey every week and some other stuff sprinkled in there sometimes. So yeah, twitch.tv/fur_. What about you, Dangers? Oh no.
Looks like I lost them in Discord again. Dangers? All right. Unfortunately, it looks like Discord has failed us tonight, but make sure to please also give Dangers a follow here. As I mentioned this throughout the run, but Dangers does a lot of great Mario speedruns, including lots of different Odyssey categories, some Galaxy. Please, please, please go give him some love as well. He deserves it. After this, we have the Community Spotlight coming up here, featuring Soul Axiom Rebooted and a preview of Legally Cute with Cutie Roo SR running Songbird Symphony. So make sure to stick around here for some awesome gamings. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.